All right, welcome back, True Seeker. I believe we are live. This is going to be sort of the Sunday night show. Again, we didn't do Sunday night show last week because I was on the road on the Oklahoma City April 19th trip, which turned into the Dallas April 20th trip as well. And if you missed out on that, a lot of people showed up. A lot of people put out their content online. And again, you should check it out because it was a pretty awesome event. A lot of truth seekers got together, a lot of great conversations, a lot of great energy, and a lot of new connections made in Oklahoma City and Dallas. The people who found out, they're living in the same community together, worried about the same things together. And anyhow, since I got back, the latest big news story is the death of Orrin Hatch, the longtime Utah politician. And just notice the way the news cycle works. Yesterday, Saturday, the breaking news, Orrin Hatch dead. They break the news right as the Utah Jazz defeat the Dallas Mavericks to even the series 2-2. And again, Utah, that's Orrin Hatch's state, lifelong Mormon, known as the Mormon state. But then the very next day, big political news out of Utah. And again, you guys, I call it coincidence programming. It's just a shame that more people don't see through what's going on in the nation. You just got to ask yourself, what are the odds? Like every day. Yesterday, Utah politician dead. Today, big Utah politician news. I mean, there's 50 states in the nation, and how often is a politician a top news story for the day? I mean, it's not every day, and there's 50 states. And how often is Utah in the focus of the nation? It's usually New York or California or Texas or Colorado had another shooting. You know what I mean? But back-to-back days with Utah. And again, year after year, what I've been showing is there's a reason there's a song out there called Murder by Numbers, where the lyrics say killing is the sport of the elected. And there's a reason for year after year I've been proving how sports and politics are synced up. And again, Orrin Hatch news death or the death of or the news of his death breaks right as the Utah Jazz went in a comeback. I mean, just like the timing couldn't be any more perfect. Well, let's look at this. Let's start with the death of Orrin Hatch. Let's go back and revisit yesterday's news story, the significance of him dying at age 88 on April 23rd. And again, the age of 88. This man was a member of the Church of the Latter-day Saints, or also known as the Mormons. The Mormons themselves, they don't like to be called that anymore. But again, that is how most people refer to their religion. It's easy. It's one word. But Mormon has that gematria of 88. Again, there's a song out there called Gematria, the Killing Name. There's another song out there called Murder by Numbers by the Police, where killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. And again, in this simple cipher, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. You add up the letters of Mormon. M's the 13th letter, O's the 15th, R's the 18th, so on. Mormon adds up to 88. So that's the first part. Now, I've written 2 books, and in those 2 books, I've mentioned the same thing. Again, if you're not familiar with my books, they're big. They cover many things, including rig sports, and I always bring up the NBA and the Utah Jazz in 113 because this is my first book. I talk all about the Utah Jazz and 113 in there, and I just realized I don't have my second book here, but I talk all about the Utah Jazz and 113 and how they were responsible for the coronavirus pandemic on March 11th, 11/3. But anyway, this news happens on the 113th day of the year. The Utah Jazz, the 113 team in the 113 league, win in a comeback win over Dallas, the only other team in the league that has a connection to 113. And right as, again, their win happens, the news breaks of Orrin Hatch's death from Utah. And when you use numerology, instead of Utah Jazz adding up to 113, it adds up to 32 instead. And again, that's because you're using numerology. So where U is worth 21 in the green cipher because it's the 21st letter, it's worth 3 in the blue cipher because the numerology of 21, U, the 21st letter, is 2 plus 1 is 3. So U becomes 3. T, the 20th letter in the blue cipher, becomes 2 plus 0 is 2. So T is 2, A is 1, H is 8. Again, you make each letter a single digit number, you add up Utah Jazz, it adds up to 32. And the reason that matters is because Orrin Hatch, who was born on March 22nd, he was born March 22nd. From his birthday to his death, April 23rd, was 32 days later. And again, Utah Jazz is 32. He's part of the Mormon church, which is a part of Christianity. A lot of Christians get offended if you refer to Mormons as Christians, but Mormons identify as Christians. You know, it's that I played that clip of a Jewish rabbi like probably 6 months ago or so, you know, showing how he didn't like Christianity because they took their religion and glued it on the back of his people's book, the Jewish people. You know, you had the Old Testament, then the Christians came along and said, here's the New Testament. And he said, the Mormons did to the Christians what the Christians did to us. They came and glued their book on and said, oh, see, now it's really, you know, it's all about Mormonism. It's the Book of Mormon. But again, the point is, it is associated with Christianity. Where Utah Jazz is 32, so is Christ, so is Scottish. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is huge with Mormonism. So is the York Rite. Freemasonry is big with the Mormons, period. The Mormon religion was founded by Masons. It's well known that Joseph Smith and Brigham Young were both Masons. But Scottish is 32, as in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and America's 32. And remember, the Jesuits, let's not forget the Mormons just opened a temple next to the Vatican in Italy, October 2019. But the Jesuits created modern Freemasonry, and the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the Ad Merum Dei Gloriam motto with the Jesuits. The Jesuits have the 32 sun rays in their logo. And again, the Jesuits served the Catholic Church, who merged paganism and the belief in Jesus. So think about their logo being the sun with 32 sun rays on it. And don't forget, America established 7/4/1776, a date with 32 numerology. Don't forget the Dodgers won their first World Series the other year in 32 years, beating the Rays. But Orrin Hatch, born March 22nd, 34, dead April 23rd, 2022. And he was the president of the 114th United States Congress and the Senate. And as we'll get to, the news of the politician today, the new upcoming politician in Utah, his news is breaking on the 114th day of the year, and Orrin Hatch is 114. But here's the big thing. From the start of this NBA season, October 19th, remember, this is LeBron's 19th season. And in tarot, the 19th card's the sun card. Tarot cards go back to Italy, like the Jesuits, like, you know, the Gematria code within English. But from the start of this NBA season to his death was the 187th day of the season. And he's dead at 88, right? And arsenic poisoning, we've talked about this so many times. Arsenic poisoning with the alphabetic order is 187. With the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, it's 88. And if you just use the rules of numerology, the word poison itself is also 88. Poison. It's got the 88. Actually, what's weird is it's a lot like Mormon. We put that up there. And all four ciphers, Mormon and poison, are the exact same. And here's the thing about his death and arsenic. Now, I just showed you that he died 32 days after his birthday, which is true. You could also say that he died on his 33rd day of his age. And when you use the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, arsenic is 33, and it's the 33rd element on the periodic table. If you didn't know that, here, I'll just show you. Arsenic periodic table. Here, let's just pull it up. Oops, lead table. Okay, so here, let's get a bigger one of that. But you can clearly see the 33s on arsenic. Oh, shit. Hold on. Am I in the wrong window? Hold on. I'm on the wrong window. My bad. Let's fix that. Okay. Arsenic, the 33rd element. And the other thing I got to fix that you didn't see up there is that arsenic, when you use numerology, which is considered the most pure cipher, 33. And you want to notice all the values of arsenic, actually. Do you see the 48, 120, 69? Look at Illuminati. The Illuminati was created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, and the Jesuits are known throughout history for killing with arsenic. Look into the 33-day Pope who said he was going to clean the mafia out of the Vatican Bank, which is an independent city-state, and he went to bed on the Jesuit Order Recognition Date anniversary, September 27th, and never woke up again. But Again, the word poison is interesting because it's got the 88 in the most simple cipher, and it's the exact same in all four base ciphers as Mormon. They're the exact same in all four ciphers. So the lifelong Mormon politician dies at 88, clearly synced up with the basketball game. And then the next day, we're hearing about the latest Utah politician who's from Provo, Utah, right where Brigham Young University is. And with regards to arsenic being 33, Joseph Smith was murdered in jail, if you didn't know that, the founder of the Mormons. And then 33 years after his death, Brigham Young died unexpectedly. And some people think he was poisoned to death. So where Brigham Young University is, that's where the politician who's getting promoted today is from. And here's the other thing. See how Utah is 22 in gematria? We're going to talk about how the man who's now getting promoted today just came out of the CIA and he's polling at 22% in Utah, as they say. And this news of him today is 22 days after his birthday, which means the day prior was his 22nd day of his age when Utah tied the series with Dallas 2-2, but also Orrin Hatch died on his 33rd day of his age. And again, I mean, the coincidences, even without Jim, see, that's why it bothers me in a little bit that there's not more people in the world that take to this knowledge and understand it, because it really is simple to understand. And for years before I knew about this, I was just looking at stories like this day after day. Because if you pay attention to the news, I mean, it's coincidences day after day, and it's just like, God, I feel like I feel like I'm being treated like I'm so dumb. Yesterday, you're telling me about this famous Utah politician being dead, and now today, the big news is a new upcoming Utah politician. This feels like a ritual sacrifice for this guy. You know, that's how I used to be once upon a time. Then you learn the code and you realize, oh my God, it really is a ritual sacrifice, and it's being done by an ancient occult language that comes from Kabbalah that goes back to Babylon. But anyway, there's several points to get in here. I just want to make sure I get in the easiest points to absorb before we go over the greater details. Here, with regards to 187 and the Jesuits, and again, him being dead on the 187th day of the NBA season, when you write out Society of Jesus, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, it's 187. If you're new here, I talk about all of these ciphers all the time with the Jesuits. All of these values matter. Gematria is just the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with rules numerology. I call it the four base ciphers because, again, you just see that when you pay attention to this day after day, they're using these same numbers ritualistically over and over. And their symbol is the unconquered sun, which is Sol Invictus. Unconquered suns also got the 187. They represent the Holy Roman Empire, which is another 187. They've been in Washington, D.C. longer than the federal government. Washington, D.C. is 187. You know who a guy is that we've seen a lot of in Washington, D.C. in the last two and a half years? Anthony Fauci, who's Jesuit educated. Just knows how his name is the exact same as Washington, D.C. in every cipher. But it's named after George Washington as well, who was a Mason, who the first Jesuit university in the U.S. is named after, Georgetown. And again, the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the motto with the Jesuits, Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. And notice how Scottish Rite has gematria 57. So does Georgetown. That university was established January 23rd, 1789, the year that George Washington turned 57 years old. And Orrin Hatch, notice his name. His name has the 57, 156 in it, just like Scottish Rite, you know. Well, hold on. Orrin Hatch, I spelled his name wrong. Orrin Hatch. I take it back. Yeah, I'm tired right now. He has the 57 like Scottish Rite. The 156 is a reshuffling, 165. But the 114 again is important because he was the president of the 114th Senate. And now the new politician, he's getting the news coverage on the 114th day of the year, one day after his death. Like the man who's going to fill his trousers. And with regards to the 187 too, remember, all of this stuff is biblical. Almost all of these numbers come from the Bible. A lot of them come right from the beginning, the Torah, Genesis. The Torah is 187 chapters. And that's what the Abrahamic religions are based in: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And notice Abrahamic when you run the alphabetic order in verses 187. So, okay, so 187th day of the season, dead at age 88. It's that arsenic poisoning code. We've seen it many a times before. And again, the lifelong Mormon in the Mormon state, Utah. Now, notice the score of yesterday's game was 100-99, right? So I was already on this yesterday, writing about 199 is the 46th prime, Catholics 46, sacrifices 46, Genesis 46 is about a sacrifice. Well, the piece I didn't have when I decoded this yesterday is who was going to get the attention today. And guess how old he is? Evan McMullen. By the way, Mick, that's a common start of a surname for somebody who's Scottish. McMullen, Evan McMullen. He's going to take on Mike Lee. But notice he's 46 years old. He's 46 years old, and he's from Provo, Utah, which also equals 46. Again, that's where BYU is. But notice his name. His actual birth name. He goes by Evan McMullen, but his birth name is David McMullen. Notice the gematria, 5679, just like Society of Jesus, right? David McMullen, 13756, just like Washington, D.C. And keep in mind, 137 is the 33rd prime number, Federal Masonry Secrecy Order, all 33. He's replacing, essentially he's going to be replacing probably in time Orrin Hatch. But he's getting the attention in Utah right after Orrin Hatch dies on his 33rd day of his age. And again, likely from arsenic, the 33rd element on the periodic table. So, and again, he's from Provo, Utah, another 46. BYU, Brigham Young, dead 33 years after Joseph Smith. By the way, the score in yesterday's game, Utah won with 100 points. Would you believe that his full name, David Evan McMullen, is 100? Again, 199, the 46 prime, 46 years old. And I make the videos and say the same thing every video, and people ask the same questions. And there are probably people who watch, they probably already turned off the video. They're probably already leaving their comment and question. But I get the same questions every video. You guys, they can rig the games to the point, which they do day after day, which we prove day after day. Can't tell you how many times we called which team was going to be the right team and why it was the key number, and that ended up being the score of the game, which we just laugh at as we collect our earnings. But anyway, they're using technology to ensure outcomes. And yes, the coaches and seemingly in the NBA, I think on the NBA level, every player on the court or nearly every player on the court's in on the script. Maybe not the guy who warms the bench all season, but and in college, it's the refs and the coaches and a key player or two. But in the NBA, they're all part of the show, and they're paid big money to be a part of it. So anyway, well, just look at the numbers that start to show up in the story, right? Party delegates voted 57% to 43%. Scottish, right? 57. Masonic, 43. DC, D, the fourth letter, C, the third. The land of Georgetown, 57. Just these numbers, right? Stand out. And then down below, they got to mention McMullen, a former CIA officer and one-time House GOP aide, ran for president in 2016 as an anti-Trump conservative. And then it says he got about 22% of the vote in Utah. And again, Utah equals 22. Utah 22. Orrin Hatch dead on his 22nd day of his age. Notice his birthday is April 2nd, right? Today's the 24th. So it's 22 days after his birthday, which means yesterday was his 22nd day of his age. And it's just, again, I mean, a funny thing, when I was at the Dealey Plaza, there's a man who apparently has been outside in a lawn chair for 29 years. Here, I bought one from him. I bought JFK Conspiracy USB. I'm sure once upon a time he gave it in a printed packet, but in the computer age, he now puts it on a USB. But he says that the mafia killed JFK, which probably isn't far off from the truth. And I said, well, you want to learn a new one that you probably haven't heard before? I said, just stop me if you have. I said, are you familiar with gematria? He didn't know anything about it. So I just said, if you write out JFK assassination and you use the alphabetic order, because it's called the JFK assassination, right? He's like, yeah. I said, okay, use the alphabetic order. A's 1, B's 2, C's 3, D's 4. By the time you get to J, it's the 10th letter. F is the 6th letter. K is the 11th letter. I said, if you add up JFK assassination using the alphabetic order, it adds up to 187. And JFK was killed in the 187th year of the nation's existence. And then there's another cipher that's related where you just multiply the alphabetic order times 6. A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24, so on. You add up JFK assassination that way, it's essentially 187 times 6. It equals 1122. Like he was killed on 1122 in the 187th year of the nation's existence. And the guy who's out there talking about conspiracies at the JFK site, he looks back at me, goes, "Man, I don't know. That seems super complicated." And I thought, "Oh my god, man, super complicated." In reality, I'm not even sure JFK really died. I mean, nobody could make out any of that video until the 90s, and it seems to be the point is this whole nation's history is by the perfect script. So you had to have a guy in there with the right initials to plug assassination on the end where it would all work out in the 187th year. And again, if you don't think these people are numerologists, again, the clues are all abound. 9/11 was all about 11. JFK was all about 1122. What are the master numbers? 11 and 22. And the master teacher's 33, and Kennedy equals 33, just like teacher. All in that most pure cipher. But yeah, it's just I mean, it's just so sick the way they get away with it. Or yesterday Orrin Hatch, today another Utah politician, and most people don't even blink an eye. And granted, part of the reason most people don't even blink an eye is because they're not even going to turn on the news today. Most people don't watch the news. They'll be watching basketball today, movies, TV shows, reality TV, you know, everything but the news. So I guess I mean to think about it realistically, like I'm sure that for everybody who's going to watch porn today, you know, for all million people that'll watch porn today, one person will watch the news. And it's not that I'm advocating for watching the news. It's just that people aren't paying attention. And I've been paying attention because I've been trying to figure out what's really going on in the world since I was 18 when 9/11 happened. And I think I've done a pretty good job of figuring a lot out. But the next phase of this is how are we going to get more people to take notice and pay attention and see just how fundamentally evil and sick their society is and their government. I mean, a government that ritually sacrifices people, that makes sure everything's so rigged and orchestrated just to keep everybody on the conveyor belt of life, going to work, minding their P's and Q's, paying their taxes, living in fear. You know, I kind of have the answer to that question. What we just did in Oklahoma City, just having a large gathering of a very diverse group of people having great conversations in the street, it attracted a lot of people like a magnet who just wanted to find out what was going on. Why is there like 60 people here gathered just having conversations and holding cameras and talking to each other? What is going on? Cameraman walking away around filming it all. People just want to know. It was cool. There was this group from Arkansas that didn't even know we were going to be there, but they're like, "Oh my god, this is so weird. I was just having a conversation with my friends that there's something more powerful about numbers than we know in this world." And then we were walking down the street, and then here you are. And again, I mean, that's the cool thing about being outside, just having synchronicity. There were so many synchronicities on this trip, but yeah, the one synchronicity I missed out on is I drove from Dallas through Salt Lake City all the way back to Washington State, and I was doing that drive on Thursday and Friday. And had I just slowed my roll a little bit, I could have been right there in Salt Lake City, right on the dime to drop the knowledge on the megaphone of the basketball game, just like I was doing last year at the Blazers Stadium, talking about. Well, remember last year I was actually literally at the Blazers Stadium in Portland, Oregon, talking about the death of Mark Eaton, the former Utah Jazz member, who supposedly died from a bicycle accident. Remember last year? That was during the playoffs. Jerry Sloan died by the numbers. But here, this is the other piece about that we got to get in about this. So the Utah Jazz Dallas game, again, these are the only two teams in the NBA that have a 1-1-3 connection. And I want to show you something funny. We're going to go to the ESPN page real quick. Oh, okay, hold on. We'll do this, and then we'll go to the ESPN page. When you write out the National Basketball Association, it equals 1-1-3. Utah Jazz is the only team with a complete name that equals 1-1-3 in the NBA. The one other team that has a connection to 1-1-3 is Dallas. Dallas equals 1-1-3 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. And again, 113 is the 30th prime. There's 30 teams in the league. The high scorer yesterday had 30 points. Luka Doncic, the great white hope. And again, Michael Jordan's 113. Kobe Bryant's 113. His retirement poem, Dear Basketball's 113. Right before his death, Kobe was in the news 113 days after his birthday for helping out with the car crash. 44 days before his helicopter crash. Remember, when you run his name in reverse, it's 157. He died on his 157th day of his age. But remember, the Utah Jazz were blamed for the coronavirus pandemic lockdown. Coronavirus pandemic equals 113, and that was declared on March 11th, 11/3. And this year, you saw LeBron pass Karl Malone in points scored, doing it in 113 less games than Karl Malone. And you saw Greg Popovich become the winningest coach all time, doing it against the Utah Jazz. Think about it. The winningest coach in the NBA, the 113 league, against the one team that has the full name that's 113, and doing it on March 11th, as Popovich did, 11/3. And with regards to March 11th, I want to show you what's funny about this year and last year on March 11th with Dallas and Utah. So hold on. Okay, going back to March 11th. Notice Dallas scored 113 on March 11th, right? 113. And that was the day that Greg Popovich, you can see it right there, he set the record right there, winningest coach all time against the Utah Jazz. Jazz stayed on 41 wins, Spurs stayed on 41 losses, San Antonio's 41. Nice little ritual there. And remember, 41 is the 13th prime. San Antonio is where the Alamo happened that lasted 13 days. You might recall the Alamo Bowl, Oregon losing with 41, giving up the record lead to TCU. And then immediately the Oregon standoff began right after that game, and it lasted for 41 days, which we predicted it would before, well, on the first day of it happening, from understanding how news and sports are scripted. But okay, now I'm going to go back 2 years to the day the pandemic was declared, to March 11th, 2020. Check this out. The Mavericks that day scored 113 points on March 11th that day. And then, the Jazz didn't get a play because, God, somebody told me something down in Oklahoma City and I already forgot. There's some connection with the Thunder that fit in with the ritual too with the Utah Jazz. But remember, Oklahoma City, that team came from Seattle where the first case of COVID was. And then they're facing the Jazz and they used to be in NOLA. Anyway, it's just, you pay attention year after year, the same stuff happens. And honestly, I can't remember what happened last year on 2021. I guess we can look real quick. Let's see. How come that didn't work? Let's see. March 11th. Were those teams playing last year? Well, they didn't do it last year. There might have been another 113, though. Who knows if you were paying attention? It could have been like an all-time head-to-head win. So, I don't remember last year. What was I doing? I was probably still busy mailing books. But anyway, you pay attention. A lot of the same stuff does happen year after year after year. And again, so that's the thing you have to think about, too. There's only 2 teams in the whole league that have a 113 connection in their team name. And they just both happen to be playing each other on the playoffs on the 113th day of the year as well this year. I mean, just think about that. What are the odds of that, right? What are the odds that on April 23rd, these teams are facing again? And then Orrin Hatch and now the politician, and his name just happens to equal 100. What are the odds? And again, if you have any like critical thinking in your head, you know that these odds are slim to none. These are improbable things. To become the winningest coach against the 113 team in the 113 league. You know what I mean? On a day that's 113. It's the anniversary of the coronavirus pandemic lockdown. I mean, and by the way, in case you forget, here, just so you can understand it, it's bigger than just 113. When they locked down the NBA that year, that was the 142nd day of the season. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, coronavirus 142. And then when they announced the season was coming back, it was 142 days after they stopped it. Not arbitrarily. So anyhow, those are the main key points on the Orrin Hatch death. Here's the other thing I want to point out that's interesting about this. Orrin Hatch's, let me go down to this. I want to remind you what they did with John Stockton earlier this year. Hold on. Okay, Orrin Hatch's full name, Orrin Grant Hatch. It's got a lot of things in its gematria that are interesting, but I want you to see the 231. 231. That is the 21st triangular number, and when he died was also 21 days after Evan McMullen's birthday or his 22nd day of his age. And he died on a Saturday named after Saturn, and Saturn's 21, and 21's the sixth triangular number, and Saturn's the sixth planet, and Saturn's connected to death and judgment. But the thing about 231 is that's also Georgetown's birthday, January 23rd, 23/1. And Georgetown equals Orrin Hatch, equals Scottish Rite, which comes right back to the Mormons. Mormons, Jesuits, the Mormons opening the new temple next to the Vatican, October 2019. But here's what I just found out when I was in Dallas. This is the organic wild thing that's crazy. Jeremy White, who has the YouTube channel JHW3D, who pounded payment with me when we went down to Louisiana, he came out and met up with us in Dallas, and he bought a $500 book. There's only like 50 some of them in the whole world, and he was waiting for it to show up on eBay, and then he found it for $500, and he bought it, and he just started to go through it. But in the beginning of the book, he noticed two things that are cool. It points out that light in Hebrew equals 201. And again, we're always talking about the Illuminati in 201. Illuminati means in the light. Order of Illuminati in English is 201. Adam Weishaupt, who founded it, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. But again, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name is also 201, but when you run it inverse, it's 231 as well. And again, Jesuit is 21. 231 is the 21st triangular number. Remember what happened to John Stockton this year on Georgetown's birthday? Here, in case you forgot, I'm going to show you this post. This is important to understand because, again, he's Jesuit educated, John Stockton, and he's the great white hope of the Utah Jazz with his little short shorts. Huge fan favorite in Utah. He's probably, if they were going to make a Mount Rushmore of Utah Jazz players, especially at this day and age, he'd be the first face up there. But look at this. Look at this. So Gonzaga University equals 233. That's the Jesuit program up here in Washington State, named after George Washington, who the first Jesuit university is named after. And Georgetown turned 233 years old on this day, where Gonzaga University equals 233. So Jesuit University from D.C. to Washington State. If you're not from the U.S., they're on D.C.'s on the East Coast. Washington State's on the West Coast. But do I not have the phone? Here, I got it right here. So they do this, right? But then they had to have John Stockton in this photo getting in. John Stockton on this day, you guys, got in trouble. He got banned from the Gonzaga games because supposedly he wasn't wearing his COVID mask, right? So they had to put him in the picture with the seats 5 and 6 over his shoulders, right? And don't forget, Jordan got his 5th and 6th rings against him. Kobe played his last game against the Utah Jazz. But I guess here, if you don't know, here, I'll just write it out again for people who don't know. In the most pure cipher, the dark blue one, coronavirus is 56. COVID vaccine is 56. Society of Jesus is 56. Anthony Fauci, face of the pandemic, Jesuit educated in DC, he's 56. Remember Regeneron, the expensive get well beverage, 56. There's a bunch of things I'm forgetting. There's a huge long list of 56 in coronavirus. Here's one you can't forget: toilet paper. Remember the toilet paper shortage? How about this one? Mind control. You know what I mean? Just coding these same numbers everywhere. Truly mind controlling people. It's like, to me, it feels like it would work even without the gematria, but they do this over and over. Gavin Newsom, 56, says 56% of California is getting coronavirus in 8 weeks as he locks down the state. Anyway, I got the same notes here about, just talking about the same thing every time I bring up these teams. 113. So very redundant with the point about the Utah Jazz and 113. Taught about so many times. Have 2 books that talk about it. And anyway, I just wanted to point out that this happened on 23/1, right? And now you got Orrin Hatch whose full name is 231. And I got to show you what Jeremy White brought to the table that's brand new information about 231 that really does tie this together even further. We already had a really tight knot. The knot just got even tighter because of what Jeremy White found. Shout out to Jeremy White, who made a $500 investment to find this rare gematria book that talked about the significance of 231 right in the beginning. I'm going to show you here in a second. It's actually all over the internet, but you'd never know to look for it unless you knew about it. That's why it's amazing how many things are on the internet. If only you'd heard of them, if only you knew what to look for, it would be right there. But again, Orrin Grant Hatch, I just want you to see his full name as this 231 in it. And look how weird his name is, like with the double R. There's a lot of things to be said about the numbers in his name. 84, like Jesuit. Well, the Catholic Church is 84 and 87, to be fair. Jesuit 84, 174, number of the beast. Dead at 88, beast 88. You know what I mean? But look at this. 231. If you just do a search for this, 231 Gates Kabbalah, if you just search that, you'll find out how significant this number is in Kabbalah. And it's if you take the Hebrew alphabet, which is 22 letters, now that I think about that, it makes it even more interesting. Because again, Orrin Hatch died on the 22nd day of this man's age. Utah is 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. If you make a combination of all of the letters in Hebrew, yeah, it explains it in the book, but it's a gematria practice. But there's 231 of these combinations. And so yeah, this is something I'm gonna do some more research on. I have in my book that I'm finishing right now, I have a good deal in there on 231, but now I have the ultimate thing that needed to be in there this whole time. Shout out to Jeremy White. And again, Jeremy, if you're out there, if you want to update your website and get other people on that website who are doing good sports decoding, who you agree should be on there, I would love to pay you for your time, and we can reimburse you just for that whole book, and for that find alone is worth it. And so keep me posted. I know there's some people that would really like to be on that website. If you guys know Jeremy White's website, it is gematriaeffectsports.com. You would think it's my website because my big ugly face is right up there at the top. But that's Jeremy's website, and he promotes my work and others. He also has his PDF for how to navigate the online sports world. And yeah, so gematriaeffectsports.com. That's Jeremy White's website. And again, I think there's a few other people that deserve some links on there. So anyway, if you write out Jewish mysticism, it also has the 201 in it. That's the main component of Jewish mysticism is Kabbalah. And you see how it's 20193, Order of Illuminati is 20193. Those are huge numbers in the state of Israel, which is 201, which is established with about 1,093 rituals. And again, it's all Kabbalah based. And as time goes on, as more and more discoveries are made, we see more and more how these numbers are important and where they gain their significance from. Again, all this stuff is super old. None of us were taught about it. I found out about it thanks to Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages and all the ongoing research and decoding and contributions from all the people in the community ever since. But there's still so much more to know. And again, I mean, it really is a tough topic, though, to get most people to get behind. And I think a lot of it's because a lot of people don't have enough intelligence or processing power to appreciate it. Even people that are sort of awake. You got the whole like for example, just I'm not trying to make fun of people, but like the QAnon people, the flat Earth people, the Donald Trump people, the Pizzagate people. These people have an inkling that something's wrong in the world, but then they get sucked into psyops and get behind false rhetoric and false movements that are obvious psyops because, it's like they have more IQ than most people, but not enough IQ still to see. And most of those people that are right there sucked into those things, they don't have enough intelligence to appreciate this work, which is dead on and undeniable. So it's tricky, but somehow, some way, we're going to figure out how to overcome it. And Yeah, it's just like the guy at the Dallas side. He's like, man, ABC 1, 2, 3. That's complicated. So, if you guys want to be part of the show, I'm not going to go super long tonight, but if you want to be part of today's show, send me an email right now, Gematria Effect News at gmail.com. Gematria Effect News at gmail.com. And just put in the title show. You don't have to write anything in the body. Just a quick email with show in the title, and I'll respond to your email and I will send you the link to join the show. And again, just the one thing you need to make sure that you have hooked up is a microphone. If you've never joined the show this way before, what happens is when I send you the link and you accept the link, you end up in a little queue thing that I can see. And then once I invite you in, then people see. You don't have to put your face on the screen. You can have your camera off or on. You can choose to put an avatar there if you want instead of your own face. But you got to make sure you have a mic or else nobody will be able to hear you. So make sure your mic's on. And again, Gematria Effect News at gmail.com. I think we might already be getting some people. Yeah, we already got people that are trying to jump on. Our first 2 emails are in. So 208 first today, Shelby second. I'm going to send out those invites. And again, I can have up to 10 people on here at a time. If it does end up getting busy with a lot of people on here, just try not to be the guy in the room that just keeps talking. Say your piece, let the next person get in. And again, you guys are welcome to talk about the Orrin Hatch thing. Anything else you've noticed in the NBA playoffs? I've been working hard the last week and driving all over the place, so I missed a lot of news stories I would normally catch. But yeah, anything that's related to what's going on right now, the world of sports, the world of politics, corrupt news, your feedback on the Oklahoma City / Dallas pounding pavement tour, all of that is welcome. And if you were at Oklahoma City and you got something else to share tonight, that would be extra cool to have you come back on and just share your experience. But yeah, we're not going to go as late as we have been, just because, again, since I've been gone for a week and a half, I got to spend a little more time with Sweet Lady. She has to go back into her little internship thingy tomorrow. So, all right, let me get out these links and bear with me 1 minute here. If anybody did get the screen capture of the live stream we did on April 19th in Oklahoma City, if anybody has that out there, I still haven't seen it. I'm hoping somebody got it. For people who don't know, YouTube took us down for copyright, which was absolutely ridiculous. We were just talking to people on the street. So it's like, how can we possibly be getting taken down for copyright? But really, they just didn't want the world to see how nice it could be for a bunch of people who are dubbed conspiracy theorists to get together and actually talk to people on the street and hold conversations and get people excited and interested. I mean, it was nothing like the stereotypes they love to throw out there in society. And again, good-looking group of people, very diverse, all ages, all sexes, all races, just a very diverse, intelligent, good-looking group. Making waves. That's why they had to censor us. So, all right, there's a number of people that are going to be hopping on the show here, and I am getting out all the invitations. Eloy's the latest, and Eloy, you're okay. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just sent out 6 invites to the show, so 208's the first in the building. What's up, 208?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Cool.
What's
I
up,
just had something quick to share about the Jazz and 113 and all that. I had a quick observation. Don't put too much stock into this, but maybe Jazz and Celtics in the finals. Because I looked last night, and isn't Game 7 on the 19th of June?
It is, because I remember Game 7's on the real King James's birthday.
So then Game 6 will be on 6/17, right?
617 is the 113th prime.
Yeah, and Boston's the 617 area code.
Okay, that's interesting. That's
I
interesting.
just found that last night, and yeah, I tried commenting, but you didn't see it. I just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Well, it's the 76th pro basketball season, and they're really hyping the 75th year as the NBA brand. Have to see if either of those teams have connections to those numbers. So,
But just with the Jazz death on the 113th day of the year, and then the thing with John Stockton.
well, it's like the 49ers had that big old death with Bob Saget, and then they did go further than expected. They were supposed to lose in the wild card round, but they made it all the way to the conference championship. So it's possible. It's possible because NBA Finals does equal 57, like Orrin Hatch. I mean, no doubt they're part of the NBA playoff narrative, but you have to look at it more. I haven't watched a whole lot of NBA this year, but
Yeah, me
it's
neither.
possible. It's possible. Well, what? So where's the Celtics piece fit in besides just the 617 thing? Did they have something happen?
No, I don't think so. I think I just was looking. I had that thought pop into my head, and I searched who has the 617 area code. I was like, oh, is it going to be a team that's in the playoffs? And sure enough, it was Boston.
Okay. Well, I will. Well, it does make sense that I guess that's Boston's connection, the one number, their area code. So always one of the top NBA teams. All right, very interesting. I'll look more into it. I appreciate it.
Yep, I'm going to hop off here. I just wanted to share that real quick. You guys have a good rest of your night.
All right, take care, man. What's up, Shelby?
Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me all right?
I hear you great. Thanks for coming
good.
on.
In the private chat here on StreamYard, I left a link. If you could open that up for me.
Let me see here. Let me figure that out.
By the way, you can find Manly P. Hall's book that you keep talking about, Secret Teachings of All Ages. It's on the CIA.gov website.
I love that. I love that it's on their website. It's
Yeah,
like it's a major clue, isn't it? It's like, here's what we're doing. You know what? Someday I just need to start reading from that book again and just start from the beginning. There's probably a lot of other things in that book that I need to be aware of that are in there. So
I started reading it. Thanks for bringing that up. And I left the link for it in the YouTube chat, so you can look for that.
okay.
All right. So while you guys were in Oklahoma City, I decided to put an article together for the Oklahoma City bombing for you.
Yo, what's that? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, hey, I brought you in, but just give us a minute because Shelby's going to show us his thing. Then Itachi's on. We're going to go right in order. So you're in the room.
No
You'll be right up. I appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we're ready, Shelby.
All right. So basically, that's just the heading and a picture for you. Oklahoma City bombing has the Jesuit Society of Jesus coded all over it, as you know. Here's a screenshot from the Wikipedia page. And like you said, it said 168 deaths. And that's because when you get down below, you'll see why it was 168 deaths.
You know what else is jumping out to me about your screenshot? Just the 680 plus injured, just another 6-8 sequence, which is the number all over the ritual.
Perfect. So if you scroll down to my cluster match, Gematria, you'll see April 19, 1995, sums to 168.
Huh. Okay.
And then if you can click on that one right there, if you click on it, it makes it bigger. And then you could see closer, people can see it better. It has 201 all over it. Terry Lynn Nichols, 201. The Jesuit Order, 201. Timothy McVeigh, 201. So you can see how all the events seem to have this cluster match. One thing matches another, that matches another, that branches off, matches another, but it's all related. So, and then of course, you talk about this guy all the time, Ignatius of Loyola, 201, and Gonzaga, 201. Perfect. I wonder if these were even real people, if they're just characters that were made up.
Well, I mean, the other thing to think about is, they didn't start out in English-speaking countries, so to make it conform to this number, it's
Yeah.
It's the
Let me
English
run your name
translation.
first, and then if it works, we'll let you in the club. It's like, oh my gosh. So that's I sometimes I think that all the history is just these are characters made up, but who knows?
Right, and just so people know, it's funny that a man. Okay, when I was driving down there, when I was driving through Idaho, I was live streaming, and I said, "How funny that I'm passing exit 201, and it's just called Paul, and Paul's this person in my life that's given me all this trouble, and just like this 201 gang." But then when I'm down in Oklahoma City on April 19th, a man named Paul from Oklahoma shows up, and he brings two huge 201 facts. Again, people can look this up. Richard Snell equals 201. He was put to death by the state the day of the bombing, and he was part of the reason he was in prison is because he was arrested on April 19th, 1985 for plotting to blow up the same building. And he was also responsible for the deaths of two people, supposedly, and he was put to death for that. But his name is 201. And then he got radicalized like Timothy McVeigh in the white supremacist camp, supposedly in Elohim, Arkansas, which was founded by a man named Robert G. Millar, which equals 201. And again, I mean, that's Ignatius of Loyola Day, April 19th, which he's Mr. 201 himself. So, yeah, there's so many 201s on the event. There's so many Jesuit Catholic numbers on it. I mean, it's just, it's undeniable. And again, I think they know it's undeniable, and I think that's a sign of why I was treated the way I was down there. I wasn't allowed to go in the museum. I had a guy following me around the city, leaving manila envelopes with threats.
Yeah, how did that go? I mean, did he do anything or no? That's probably just some schmuck who is probably just following you around trying to scare you. But I mean, if he's watched you long enough, you're not easily spooked. So
right, and we weren't spooked, and we prevailed. They had to censor us. So anyway,
good for you.
Good decode.
All right, I'm gonna hop off here. Thanks so much for going down there and spreading the word, and try to do it more and more every year.
Indeed. All right, Shelby. Thanks, man.
Right.
Have a good one. All right, what's up, Itachi? Oh, Itachi's mic's off. I'll bring Richard on. What's up, Richard?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Oh, hold on. Rich, we'll go next. But yeah, what's up, Itachi?
Yeah, you're
Not
good.
much. Just wanted to say, amazing job in Oklahoma City. I wanted to be there. It was just family's birthday at the time, but I thought, what you were met with, that type of resistance really proved and validated the importance of the work. Because, if it was just some crazy Scientology or flat Earth, I think they're just letting you go in and, make a fool of yourself. But, yeah, I just thought you guys did an amazing job. And it's very pathetic that, you still got people coming out and making videos saying, people are saying was staged, people are like, when you got confronted by those security guards, you got agents trying to discredit you at every avenue. So I just thought that was, pretty wild. And
yeah, and I think it's just further proof of I don't think I'm wrong about there being a federal operation around this work because it's exposing so much, and that's why there's people in the city able to track down my car and come up and harass me on the street, and the security presence ready when I show up in the museum. And again, I mean, people. Well, I'll tell you what else is really actually annoying me this month: the fact that the Patreon subscribership is the lowest it's been in over a year. It's like, what is going on this month where we're trying to make things happen? People are falling off the fence. It's just like, anyway, I will still keep going forward. But for all the people in the world that can't pledge $1 to what we're trying to achieve and build up to, I mean, you guys are the reason we're sinking to the bottom. I got to be real. So.
Yeah, and I'll just leave it with this. I had to send you that future kind of mask reference. I was streaming in live time, and I found that if you look 4 years ago, whatever, the anniversary of the song Mask Off, that's when they, stopped the mandate. But again, you don't even need gematria. You don't need the numbers. I always knew there was some kind of greater conspiracy or whatever because of stuff like that. I just could never really explain it or, catch it. So I just try to, I guess, kind of move on. But, I'm just grateful that you have a system that is kind of undeniable and you've exposed it. So, yeah, that's all I got to say, man. Thank you for doing the show. And I'll keep watching. Peace out.
Yeah, great point too, Itachi. If you guys missed that, when the supposed Florida judge, who all of a sudden after 2 years rules against the mask mandate, it's like, where's this judge been the last 2 years? But then they just happened to do it on the day that the single came out for mask off. And what are we saying? This whole entertainment world, politics, it's all controlled by the same people who are essentially giving us the middle finger every day, making fun of us. So,
anyway, man, take care. Shout out to everyone in the chat. See ya.
All right, see you, Itachi. And hey, there's Richard Quinn. What's up, man? How was it?
How was it? Oh man, where do I start? You know, I mean, the security guards really showed their hand, Zach. I mean, we were telling them the easiest stuff, you know, and he was sitting there like he didn't get it, and it'd be impossible for somebody not to get it. You know what I mean?
That guy was just there to filibuster. When we got so, what's interesting is for all the years since the bombing, the memorial, what they do, the dedication on April 19th has always been outside the building. That's what they've always done. This is the first year ever that they moved it to the inside of the church across the street. And when we got there, the police were lined up at the door to make sure we could not come in and be part of the memorial service. And
Yeah.
I think that's because
I was there.
Yeah, they were worried, and everybody'd be able to see that that's true, but they took down the stream, and I think that's the reason they took down the stream, because nobody made an ass of themselves. Hey, we even had Richard Quinn on videotape yelling on the megaphone that people should look up at the sky and look at the spray and just wait for a few hours and just watch how the blue sky will turn to gray haze. Well, that's exactly what it did. We even got a little chemical rain. But I mean,
Yeah, it went about about 10 what would you say? It got maybe 5-10 degrees colder. It got cloudy. The sunshine went away. But here's the most interesting part about that. They did the ceremony. They did the bagpipes. The skies were clear all day. And then bang, right when that ceremony ends, they didn't just start chemtrailing. There was a blatant X in the sky right above the building of the ceremony.
Right. Yeah.
The timing was too perfect. Like, to me, that just tells me something, you know.
I agree.
But you know what I've been thinking, just reflecting on OKC, I look at it as a huge building block, because we've been wanting to pound pavement for like 4 years now, and the people that are doing it right now have not only grown closer, but we are now the foundation of eventually having thousands of people in the streets confronting the government for ritualism.
Well, that's exactly the point. I mean, that's what I've been trying to do the whole time: get everybody to stand up and pay attention and say enough's enough. I mean,
yeah, and that's pretty much what we'd be doing. I mean, our hands would be in the air, like, I mean, how many times I'm sitting here laughing, like thinking, how many riddles could you just sit? If I'm sitting in a chair and you're sitting in a chair, you could go all day and just tell me little riddles that are verifiable, and then you just have to ask yourself the odds. I mean, how many riddles could you sit there and you told us riddles the whole time we were there,
Sure. Did you notice how when we were on the street, because that cop said to you, he goes, because you used the word riddle, he goes, riddles, and you said, yeah, riddles. I think the better word to use when you're on the street is rituals, because they are riddles, but they're rituals too, aren't they?
I couldn't agree more with that comment, Zach.
Yeah, so I think I would try that out on the street, because I mean they really are rituals that they're performing. But riddles is true too. It's just the word just is received different by the person, and you saw that when the cop was so greasy. That cop was like, riddles.
I can counter what you said with, if that person on the street, even if it's the cop or just a civilian, is reading the folder with my typed out riddles, then they can know that they're riddles.
Well, it's true, they're riddles. It's just people, when they hear the word ritual, I think they just respond differently to that word.
Right. Ritual or riddle, though, if they just take the time to read the content, then they would know.
Right.
That's the sad part.
Right, absolutely. That cop though that we were talking about was just playing dumb. He was just there to filibuster and you know make sure that we didn't go in and try to interact with the governor and mayor.
You
I mean that was his
you
purpose.
heard me tell him that he's playing dumb. I told him he's a fraud.
Yeah, and he is, and he knows that, but he's happy to be a fraud because I guarantee if you could get him to speak openly, he'd say, "Listen, man, the world's fucked. I'm doing my best, and this is the best money I've ever made." So
Yeah. Did you notice he gave me his business card when I gave him one of your business cards?
yeah.
I have his number, so I figured I'd send some content to him.
Fine.
But then, I mean, that's probably a bad idea. Then he's got my contact information.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he doesn't know my name. I don't know. Maybe he does.
I mean, there's no way as a human being you can think that you know the official story of Oklahoma City is legit. So I mean, he has to know it's a
No.
lie, and he's just going along with the lie because it serves his interests. So.
Yeah, he's the host. He's the, you know what I mean?
He's clearly one of the
Jeez.
more important cops in the town. That's why they had him there. So.
Wow, man. And I wish I could have ran into those security guards that, well, one of them we did, but I didn't interact with him. Pimples. I wish I would have ran into the Pimples guy. That guy
He was
shouldn't
out
even be
there.
a security guard. Somebody would break him in half, bro.
Well, I don't think they have to deal with much there normally at the memorial. It's probably the most action they ever had in all the years.
Right.
There, so.
He probably picks up trash out of the yard. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But man, I just I couldn't take the smile off my face all the way home, Zach. I mean, I've really tried to help us get in this direction for a while, and I'm not bragging on myself or nothing, but I didn't make these t-shirts for nothing or the
Hey, a lot of people
daily,
had your shirt out there, man. I mean, a lot of people had the shirt that you made. It looked good.
and I just want that nationwide. That's all I'm asking. You
Well,
know, and I'm
you're
making
asking a lot for people that have trouble pledging $1, but a lot
well,
of people did have your shirt. Your shirt was the most popular shirt there, which was cool. So
I probably sold maybe 100 of them in the last few years, you
well,
know,
those
and
are
that's
the people who bought your shirt are the people who care the most because they're also the ones that came out for the event. So
But you know what? That gives me an idea, and I wanted to say this when I came on the show. Shout out to Paul Wood, because he's also the one that gave me this guy that makes these shirts. He has his own shop, Jeff Kahn. And bro, you send him the money for the shirt, $20. He literally mails it out the next day, every single time. You know what I mean?
the trolls
And
just
they-
saved the footage. The trolls just took a clip right there. That's perfect. In the next video, we'll get the clip in of Jeff Kahn, and we'll say Zach is a con.
Oh yeah, yeah. And just so they know, I don't go down the rabbit hole. I don't decode every single word out there. You know, I don't overcode.
That's what
So
the trolls and agents love to do. They love to turn everything on the actual community. So
yeah, well, when you decode everything on the planet, you're gonna find some synchronicities.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like people are there's a video up that shows Hubbard equals Oklahoma City, and it's like
Yeah,
but the reason we went to Oklahoma City is not because of that, but it's because that's where the bomb went off with the huge lie right before 9/11. That's the reason we went there.
right.
And again, we're exposing the agendas that are fucking over humanity, not trying to expose the people who are trying to expose the evil, and then making my channel name in the name of Jesus. You're not in the name of Jesus. You're in the name of whatever's evil. You're on the side of the feds. And that's why I get so sick of religious people, because it's always the ones with the religious names with the most bullshit videos that can't see the forest for the trees. Oh,
Right.
yeah, well, Zach's obviously a shill because he says he's not sure about Jesus, and he also denies the flat earth. It's just like, God, you
Well,
guys. can't
that's
see
why I
where the
always
problem-
tell people this is not all gematria. I mean, when you can get past that, it's yeah, you can learn gematria from you. You're going to show us the numbers and words, but like every story doesn't necessarily just have all gematria.
Right.
We show plenty of deception without even touching gematria sometimes. It's
Right.
the date, it's all kinds of stuff, man. You just got to pay attention and watch the video.
Right.
But it helps to read the content from major events, you know? I
Indeed.
don't even know why that ain't the best idea out there. I mean, my folder that Denise made that has everything typed out, they don't even got to log in now and, you know, read my email. They can open the folder and just read how Super Bowl 52 is rigged. It's easier if they read it than if I try to spit it out
Sure.
every time.
Sure.
But, you know, I got a million things I could say. I don't want to keep you on here all night, but
Well, we got 3 more people in the room, so let's bring them on. 208 wanted to come back on. Seeking Truth is here, and Eloy's on. So we'll go in that order. What's up, 208?
Hey, my phone's gonna die. I just got to be quick. I forgot something. When you came through Idaho and that dude recognized you, that was awesome because that's like right where I live, and I hope that he found a for me like reaching out. And also on your next trip, you should think about stopping here and we can teach some people some shit. And
Okay,
also,
yeah. I'll stop. Next time I do it, I will stop in Boise. I realize I got to do a better job of stopping in the cities along the way, but yeah, indeed, Boise's not that far away.
And then my phone's about to die. Just one last thing, and I'm gonna.
Hey, can I interrupt and
Decide
shout out
just in case he's
208 Productions? Can I give him a shout out, please?
He's talking right now.
Well, he's in Gematria chat, aka Pounding Pavement chat. We're trying to add thousands of people in this chat, and it's all people who would wear a T-shirt, who would advertise my riddles, who would advertise Zach's work, and 208 Productions is in there. So I want to give him a shout out. We want all the people in the community in my chat because then we're assigning people to go to the park that day or wear a T-shirt or teaching people how to guide people to Zach's work. So just shout out to 208. Appreciate you being in there, buddy. Yeah.
208, your phone's pretty hard to hear right now. I think it's because it's dying. It's got like the echo robot sound. So just join us when you're recharged. What's up, Seeking Truth?
What's up, Zach? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. What's up, man?
Yo, just checking in, man. I'm pretty bummed that you weren't able to stop in Denver for the 420 concert because it was 50,000 people out there. It was a free show, and so it would have been real prime.
I should have done that. I should have done that.
Maybe next year you could swing by and get your 420 / Gematria all in one. But something that I wanted to add is just that. So I don't know if it's going to take me off the screen or if it's going to end the chat if I go to my photos. Do you know if I could do that?
You sleep?
There's a way to do it.
Well,
there's some toggle on your end to share your screen so that we can see the photos. Do you see a button to do it?
I see settings. No, I don't see it. Well, I'm going to just tell me if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. So something that I've been trying to pay attention to in the last few weeks is just when I'm going on the news websites or whatever. So I know the story pops, and obviously it's all relative, it's all relevant, and so I've just been doing screen captures of just the last 3 or 4 days, and I wanted to just share them with you. A couple of them. I don't know if you've already touched base on them. I know you already did the Orrin Hatch, but for instance, on Friday the 22nd. The story says Janelle Monáe confirms that they are non-binary.
Okay.
And so I looked that up, and non-binary is 112, and that's the 112th day of the year. And so that's just a little pattern that I've seen. And then the same thing with A$AP Rocky, with him getting arrested, and his name in Gematria equals to the date. I seen this story. Tigers Miguel Cabrera becomes 33rd MLB player to reach 3,000 hits. Tigers has 33 in it.
Yep.
I seen this link to a Matthew McConaughey, something about Texas. He's at the football stadium, and the quote says that today Matthew McConaughey says it's time to quote to bless the mood, quote, and bless the mood and Texas Longhorns. They both share a 187. Tiger Woods comes out with a new golf course called Pop Stroke. Has the 135, just like Tiger Woods is 135 in forward and reverse. And then the other thing, obviously, the Orrin Hatch. I got that story yesterday. I was working, and when I looked it up, I don't know if it's because the time zone differences or whatever, but it said that it was Sunday, the 114th day. And his name, obviously, Orrin Hatch, without the middle name, is a 114. Yeah. And then to top things off, too, the 23rd, which was yesterday, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweets today is 1776, and then I look up Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she has a 234. And so yesterday was 23/4. Her name's 23/4, and so that's something that I'm gonna start doing. Is just checking the stories, immediately checking the numbers, seeing how it lines up. And it's crazy because it's if it's a big enough story, or if it's a story that moves the needle, it's just lining up every time. And I've only been doing this for like 4 days to just
See,
check it. Like,
that's exactly what frustrates. I've been doing this for almost 9 years now and showing how every day all of the stories are this way. And if you would just take a moment to look yourself, you would see this is what they're doing. And I mean, anyone can prove it. It's been this way every single day that I've been here. That's why all the
Right.
people think this stuff's a coincidence. That's why I get so frustrated. It's like these people are literally beyond moronic and they're just lazy and they're blind and it's all right there. All the proof is right there. And you just went right down the line. I mean, you just do it essentially what I do every day. You just go through the stories and just say, oh, here's why this is the headline today. This is why this is the headline today. And that's
Zach,
why all
I got-
you guys just start decoding other people in the community and saying like, ooh, they have the number. That's dumb. What we're showing is how these numbers are used ritualistically every day in the programming that's put out there for the billions of people, not taking the numbers and saying, ooh, that person has that number too, who also makes a YouTube video. So maybe they're part of it. No, they're not part of it because they're not in the news cycle by the numbers day after day.
yeah,
So
not for sure,
Zach,
man. And I see it
Zach,
in the
I got a
sports stuff,
gem.
too.
hold on. Let him finish his thought. Real
Okay.
quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What up, Rich?
So what's going
How you
on,
doing,
brother?
Big Rich?
I'm
see you, bro.
feeling great right now.
Good, man. I wish I could have been in Oklahoma with you guys, but nah, man. I was gonna say too. It's in the sports. It's in the news. It's in the with all the actors and stuff. Like, I have a channel and I did a video on the day that the Jussie Smollett story broke, and then the next day the Deshaun Watson story broke. And I'm trying to stay on top of it. I've been really busy the last month, so I haven't been able to post. But just wanted to chime in and say what's up, and then let you guys know you guys got to come out to Colorado for that 420 festival. It's the biggest festival in the world for cannabis, and on top of that, I think that you'll find a lot more people that'll be susceptible to the information at that event because it's such a fun event. There's so many people, but yeah, I really wish you could have been there, man. I would have loved to meet you, but we'll get it linked up next time for sure.
Okay.
Do they have a page?
For the festival?
Yeah, like do the people you're talking about have a page to where a group page where we could show them the work there?
I'll be
Since we
honest,
didn't
I'm
make
not
it.
too sure. It was like a free event that the city of Denver hosted, and so I'm sure if you could go on their website, or if you just type in 420 Mile High, yeah, there you go. That's
Like on
the link right
Facebook.
there.
Like on Facebook, maybe there's a group page.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not on Facebook, but I'm sure they got something. But either way, we got to get you guys out there because, dude, there is a ton of people out there, and the whole time I was there, I was like, damn, I wish Zach was here and the boys.
A lot of people.
'cause it would have been a good time. Everyone, you would have had so many people that probably more than like at just a regular casual event.
They'd probably put
there's
Zach on a
50,000 people
stage.
there. Say what?
We could get him on the stage then and
Oh, that would
educate
be lit.
thousands of people
Get
at
Zach
once.
on the stage. Maybe he kicks a little freestyle on Gematria.
I mean, just tell them the truth of 9/11, Sandy Hook. That's what I would do. We all have our different approaches, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I
going to
see a
tell
lot
them.
of people out there gathering and sharing other information. There's a lot of different groups, but I didn't see any Gematria, and it's sad because I was thinking about it the whole time, and I was like, man, there's so many people here. But nah, that's all I wanted to add. I don't want to take up too much time, man. Thanks for having me, Zach. Shout out Big Rich, holding it down, pounding the pavement.
Are you going to watch after you get off here? Because I got a treat that I think Zach's going to like about
sure.
Gematria. Something
For
about
sure.
Gematria. Remember, Zach, in the car? Remember the 3 words that I wanted you to look up?
Remind me.
About the Declaration, 56 signers,
Right.
and what was that? What was the guy's name? Sorry, I'm very blown
John
right now.
Hancock?
Yes. And what I want to prove though is how everything equals 47, and it's all government words. We think the English language was built using numbers. Well, check this out. Go to the calculator, Zach, and put those in there, and it just shows me evidence that the words were built using numbers.
What am I writing? 56 signers?
John Hancock, 56 signers and Declaration. I just found this just playing around one night.
Oh yeah, I see. So in the 2 original
Ooh.
ciphers I learned, perfect overlap with all those ciphers, and then Declaration and John Hancock the same when you run it in reverse. So yeah.
Hey, Zach,
Isn't
I got
it?
a
Yeah,
question
look.
for you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but
No,
something that I
please
didn't
do.
think about until yesterday when I did this like search, because the Tiger Woods thing, like his golf course Pop Stroke that came out. My question to you is like Tiger Woods, his gematria is 135, 54, 135, 54, and I'm pretty new with like the decoding and stuff, and I just thought that was interesting that his numbers were the same. Like, and I wanted to hear your opinion on that, or if maybe you've already talked about
Yeah,
it a bunch.
54 and 135 go back to Bavaria and the Jesuit order and the establishment of the Illuminati. And again, you know, you can't get more Tiger Woods or you can't get more Jesuit than Tiger Woods, always wearing just red and black, the Jesuit colors on Sunday. But yeah, that 54 135. And it's just a reminder that his supposed car crash on the 54th day of the year. So,
Well, not as much the numbers, but just the way that it's the pattern. Like if you look
Yeah.
up Tiger Woods, it's 54 35, 54
Right.
35, and that's the
Exact
first
same.
time I've ever seen that with any like cipher.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Kobe's got that. Kobe's got something similar in his name too. He's got the 54 135. But yeah, Tiger has it
wow.
forwards and backwards. So
I know. I
Yeah,
just thought that was
and you
crazy. I
know,
was
they're
like, this has
both
gotta be
professional
crazy.
athletes. They're both professional athletes, so that's a huge red flag that those numbers match like that.
Kobe died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54 in the Catholic Mass ritual, and then Tiger Woods on the 54th day of the year the next year, both in LA as well. So
Goes to show the world is a stage.
mhm.
And they're named accordingly.
And
I
with
don't
regards
think
to the
Zach, you should scratch that they picked them. I don't
well, I
think
just
anybody got
wanna
picked.
The
I just
world
wanna
is a stage.
the Bavaria thing, the Bavaria connection with both of them, and then they both, they both happen in LA, which is 13 land, and the Illuminati, the Bavarian Illuminati is founded with 13 families. So they keep their number rituals together over and over. But yeah, Tigers is interesting, the forwards and backwards, the symmetry of it. So
Yeah, I just never seen that. But anyways, boys, thank you for your time. Rich, you sent me an email like 2 weeks ago with those links. I appreciate that. And Zach, I
See,
can't
I
wait
don't
to
know
meet you, man. I
who
got to meet
I
you in
don't know who
Colorado.
anybody is. You know what I'm saying? I can't even read your name right there.
You're all good,
It's
man.
small. It's real small. Just
You're
send
all
me an
good.
email again, sir, so I know so I
For
can
sure,
identify
for
who
sure.
you are.
I'll send you a follow up.
Thank you, sir. I
All right,
appreciate
man.
you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate your suggestion. So yeah, that's a good thought for next time. You have a good day,
All right,
man.
buddy.
Thank you.
See you.
All right, take care. All right, Eloy, you've been patient.
Hey.
What's up, Eloy?
Yeah,
Hey, what's
yeah,
up?
my bad.
No, you guys are good, man. You guys got a lot of stuff. You guys got to spread the word, so it ain't nothing. But I was just on here because I wanted to say, I appreciate all the stuff you're doing. You're going out, spreading the word across the United States, and we need more of that, honestly. But I just wanted to mention too, in that one part of the video when you were in Oklahoma, you showed that Masonic temple, and it kind of gave me flashbacks to out here in Rapid City, because out here downtown, me and my girlfriend just noticed this too the other day when we drove by. But yeah, there's a Masonic temple downtown in Rapid City, South Dakota. So yeah, it's just crazy, man. These guys are everywhere, infiltrated and well put, in every part of the states. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through my Twitter to find. So something that blew my mind when I got to the memorial site at Oklahoma City is that on the backside. By the way, shout out to Eric who did that in Utah. But when I got to the backside of the building, I could not believe. I know I took a picture of it. There it is. The backside of the memorial
Yep.
site is a Masonic temple. I thought, you got to be kidding me, man.
Yeah, and it's just funny too, because like there's one in Rapid
Jeez,
City, and
man.
then there's one on a outskirts in a little town called Hermosa. There's one out there too, and it's like they're everywhere,
We
like
we really got mocked, Zach. That cop was a Jesuit himself. You know what I mean?
Or yeah. It just makes me sick how these people are just happy to be on board with things just to get a paycheck. It's like,
the funniest part is when you're like hidden in plain sight, because they are pretty much hidden in plain sight at all times.
right. You get to the site, and the Catholic Church is directly across the street, and the Masonic temple's on the backside. It's just like, come on, man, this couldn't be any more
Yeah.
obvious.
But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there and just kind of show my also my reflections on seeing things like that. It's just we're living in strange times, you know,
I'm
and
on the show.
um, yeah,
Oh, who's here?
you're not.
Brad. Tell Brad to do it.
Eloy, you were saying?
Oh no, I was just saying, you know, like it really is strange times we're living in, you know, and I just wanted to get on call and I'm gonna try to get on every Sunday, and try to join your guys' show. Um,
Hey guys,
I just, yeah, it's just crazy, man. You know, the more, and then it's crazy too, because the other day, I went grocery shopping and, you know, it's just funny because like the natural side of it, the organic side of gematria, you know, how you
Sure.
talk about like, you know, I kept coming across 201 a lot in my receipts, and I was like, it's just funny because like I don't know how it is or the way it is, you know, but it's definitely organic, and there's definitely a side to where they're controlling it too, you know. So yeah, it's crazy.
Indeed. Indeed it
But
is. Well,
that
I
was
appreciate
all.
your support. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right. Yeah, you take care, Eloy. Yeah, Masonic temples are all across the nation. And again, as a reminder, it's not that all Masons are bad. It's just that, you know, you get in these upper levels and seems like they're up to some nefarious stuff up at the tippy top. But, you know, most guys who are, you know, first, second, third degree who just joined it to have some buddies to go out with, drinking with, learn a few new things, you know, they're
Yeah.
not the real part of the problem. And we had an interesting thing on the University of Oklahoma campus. I asked a man if he knew the way back to the journalism hall, and he pointed. And Alex, who was in our group, noticed that on his finger he had a Masonic ring, and we were telling him about all this stuff, and you could tell his mind was kind of blown.
Yeah.
But
To me, it seems like the people at the bottom are just there to help the people at the top have legitimacy. Does that make sense? Like, they're evil at the top, so they have people join the club, and they're doing the Thanksgiving food drives, and you know, people think that they're not evil. Then does that make sense?
sure.
It's kind of, you know, I've always thought that with it. It's like it's got to be what it is.
Right. So, Rich, what do you think about the New York September 11th idea?
I'm glad you brought that up, man. Will, I saw a spark when we met Will, and I'm like, if this guy can learn our work, he already has so much reach out there, and he fights for the audits and our rights and stuff, which is great. But if you add your work, the truth of 9/11, this guy's vocal. He's going to be out there with us. And now he built the. It may not seem like much, but a lot of people can join the Facebook 9/11. What do you call it? The invite thing.
Group?
I think we could get thousands of people onto that thing, and it's going to be off the chain. New York is going to be. OKC is going to be a warm up.
Yeah, I agree. I think we got good momentum going forward. So
Somebody's gonna get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Something, I don't know. I picture a lot of people, and
Here,
I can
I
tell.
got just for you saying that, Denise. If you're out there watching and you want to call me right now and tell your story, you're welcome to. There is the worst thing that actually happened about the whole gathering, and this is a warning for next time if you want to come to New York. There was a woman, and it really does look like somehow they turned her into a ritual. She's a woman who has a Facebook page, and pretty much she shares all on her Facebook page is my work. So, you know, I'm grateful for that. But she was flying from Ohio to Oklahoma City, and she had a layover in Minneapolis. And her layover, the plane got extra delayed. I think an extra 3 or 4 hours behind schedule. So, you know, she went to the bar there and had herself a martini or two. And while she was drinking at the bar, a police officer, or it was actually after she left the bar, and went back to her gate, a police officer approached her and just like went hands on and arrested her. And they held her in a cell for 24 hours. And you can look up her arrest online. I mean, we looked at it as a group, but I swear to God, all this is true. They released her after 25 hours, and they released her at 8:56. So 56 minutes after. It's all documented online. And She's currently 55 years old, which means she's in her 56th year of life, and now she has to go to court on her 56th birthday.
I didn't know
And
all that, bro. I didn't know all that.
yeah,
Wow.
she has to go to court on her 56th birthday. That's what day they set her court date for.
See, right. This is real, man.
Yeah, and the thing was, she's a woman traveling alone to the
This
event,
is-
and when we live in this police surveillance state, and pretty much all she's posting online, and I imagine while she's drinking the bar, she probably said something about going to Oklahoma City and doing this. But one way or another, a police officer just essentially arrested her. Well, they put down that she was what they say, obnoxious or something. But I
Well,
mean,
Zach,
seriously, who's getting arrested at the airport?
in all fairness, people get arrested every single day walking out of the airport bar. I'm
Hold
being
on, she's calling in
sarcastic.
right
I'm
now.
being
She's
sarcastic.
Here, she's
I was
calling in right
being
now. She's going to
sarcastic.
tell the story. She's calling in.
I was joking, bro.
Denise, did you want to share your story?
Yes, I would be happy to. I just got home from work. I was listening to the stream earlier, and then I had to kind of get all my stuff packed up. Hold on, I need to turn down the sound. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah. And Denise, by the way, do you need some money for your legal fees and the harassment?
You know what? I'm not even sure what's happening yet because this is what's going on. Angel Z and Ben were both kind enough to kind of start looking into just, my charges, just how to even find. I didn't even know like my case number, none of it, because when I left to fly home, I didn't get home until late, and then I had to get up and get ready for work at like 7 a.m. the next day. I was at work. So but from what I gathered from Angel was that my case is still open. They're still investigating it, which is funny to me because this is basically, what went down. So I was traveling alone. I definitely was posting, as usual, your work. I post everything. And so it would have been very easy for somebody to figure out that I was flying. And so when I flew from Ohio to Minneapolis. And when I got there, I had a layover. So I thought, well, I'm going to get something to eat. And I had a glass of wine. And I was talking to my daughter on the phone for a little while. Well, then I'm getting notifications that my flight is being delayed. So I kind of just hung out there for a while. I walked to another bar. But, when you fly, you're staying very close to the places where your gate is because, I'm lugging a backpack. You just want to be close.
Right.
So long story short, the only people that I can even, I talked to the waitress. I was very polite with her, tipped. I was at another bar. There was a gentleman who was sitting about 4 seats down from me. He was watching sports. I asked him if he was, if he did bet or anything, if he would be interested in learning something about Gematria. He had no interest. That was fine. I didn't see anything else. And then there were 2 young girls that sat very close to me. When they came in, they were eating. And I think that I may have pulled out, I made folders for Richard. And I might have pulled one out. But it wasn't, I had no bad interaction with anybody. And then my flight again got delayed, so now it's 2 delays. So, just to take you up to what happened, I decided to walk up to the gate to see what was going on. I think I had even walked up one time before. Nobody was really there. But this last time that I did, it happened so fast. I really feel like I was just snatched out of that airport. This cop came up to me. It was airport police. I have bruises, all over me. But the one you could see where his thumb went into my shoulder where it connects to my bicep. I have a bruise there. He had me, I think he asked me, I don't even know if he asked me my name. He might have asked if I had been drinking. I said yes. He just said, I'm charged, disorderly conduct. And before I can even, I'm trying to say to him, what did I do? Wait a minute, what did I do? He was handcuffing me so roughly and fast. He snapped half of my thumbnail off. He had those cuffs on and they were so tight. I was in so much pain. But then he starts dragging me. Like he had the car waiting right there, like right outside the door. And he dragged me out into there. I have bruises on my legs. He was very rough throwing me in. And I'm the whole time I'm saying to him, wait a minute, what are you doing? What did I do? I don't know. Disorderly conduct. So I'm begging him. I was in so much pain. And if you would have seen my hands, like while I was in that cell, they were just blown up, bruised. Everything on me hurt. And he has me in the car. I'm begging him to please loosen the cuffs. He pulls over and he loosens them. You have to figure my adrenaline has got to be like off the charts at this point. My adrenaline's off the charts right now just talking about it. When he loosened the cuffs, the last thing I remember is saying, thank you. And then, what did I do? That's all I remember. It's almost like I'm wondering if he drugged me, because the next thing I remember, I was walking in, like just down a little hallway, and I didn't even know I was ending up in this thing. It was like, like the drunk tank cell. I've never been in a place like that before in my life. It was disgusting. It was dirty. There was fecal matter on the wall. There was like somebody chewed up their gross food that they give you and just spit it all over the place. I asked for toilet paper repeatedly while I was in there. I never got any. The water situation, I kept asking them on this little intercom. And at first, I'm banging on the door, like, let me out of here. I think everybody does it. And then you just figure like, you aren't getting out of there, And so I'm asking for toilet paper. Finally, I'm like, could somebody please bring me water? So this guy comes on and he says, there is water. And I said, where are the handles to turn it on? Well, it's kind of like, if you would put in a sink and you weren't going to put the hose through for the sprayer, you would put like a little silver type thing over that. You had to keep touching these silver things on there for like a long time. And then all of a sudden water would just like come blasting out of it, and you just have to try to catch it,
That's
with your mouth. But they had me down there for, oh my God, when I'm thinking about it, it had to have been at least 20 hours. And they do stuff like, it was so uncomfortable. Everything was cement. It was hard. I was in pain. We're gonna be taking you to processing soon. Well, we have more people coming in. It's gonna be a little bit. 4 hours is a little bit. Like everything took forever. And I was never told what I did, who I did it to. I didn't have any negative altercation with anybody there. I was not being loud. I was being respectful. Even all day long, you're in that crowded airport, people are bumping in, excuse me, pardon me. Never had a crossword with anybody. I really do believe that they targeted me. And the other thing is, he asked me if I've been drinking. I tell him yes. How come I was given no blood alcohol test, no breathalyzer test, no field sobriety test? But I'm whisked. That's why I want the video footage. I want the video footage of that arrest, because that cop, what he did to me, that has to be illegal. I'm like 135 pounds.
Right.
I'm not a big girl. I'm not.
You have I think you have a $5 million lawsuit personally. That's just my opinion.
Is that you, Rich?
That's Rich.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm watching the TV, but like everything seems to be delayed. Yeah, I'm traumatized from it. Like I said, it gets me upset talking about it. I'm getting better about not thinking about it. I'm calming down a little bit, just realizing that, hey, this is just going to be what it's going to be. But, I was even looking at the one form. Angel Z was so great. So was Ben, and Jared Bailey versus the world. Disambiguation, just people really showing that they cared. Jared and I talked for a while on the phone. He just kind of let me, be upset, and it was helpful. But I want the video. And when I was looking at the stuff that Angel Z sent to look for links for the forms to fill out to request that stuff, they even make that like complicated. It's just like, what do you want? And it says something like jail. I don't know, it's vague. And then it says, I think the next box says something like, be very descriptive, and exactly what you want. But I'm thinking like, I want the surveillance from the airport. I want that surveillance of that cop he basically just bum rushed me. Like I didn't even know what was coming. It happened so fast. And again, I think I was telling Jared, I've dealt with the police in my lifetime. Again, you said I'm going to be 56 years old. I was young, I was wild, I was crazy. I've had dealings with the police. I had a DUI years ago, and like back then, that was a normal arrest. I should not have been, drinking and driving. It was like a couple minutes from where I was living. I went to go, of all places, I would never eat that now, McDonald's. It was very close to where I lived, and it was closed. So I went to just pull in just to come back out and go home. But the lights came on, the cops stopped me. I stopped. They asked me, for my ID. The officer said, I could smell alcohol. Have you been drinking? I said, yes. They asked me to get out of the car. I did. And it was just complete. I was respectful with them. They were respectful with me. Even at the end of it, the one cop got to give me my apartment keys back. And while he was going to get them, I was sitting with the other cop. And I said, man, I really fucked up. And he was just like, hey, you know what, Denise? You made a mistake. He said, yeah, there are going to be, consequences, but it's okay. You learn from this. That is the way that, that should have went down. I did something wrong. I was respectful. They were very respectful back. And that is not at all what happened at this airport. I didn't see this guy coming. And honestly, when I'm trying to think about it, that I really do wish that I had not been drinking anything, because I really wish I would have just had a very clear mind. He came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere. He assaulted me. I've never had bruises all over my body from a police officer before. And I did try to take some pictures on my own. Actually, and then I had a friend of mine, his niece, she happened to be around, and I said, would you come in and see if they're still, visible enough if you could get some. But I think mine actually turned out better than hers. So pretty much, getting out of there. I lost some things, but it's so funny how I used to be way more materialistic, not so materialistic anymore. They're just things, the more I thought about this, I was thinking, I'm lucky that I'm not like dead in a ditch somewhere,
Well,
when they said
it's creepy.
they did a
It's very
ritual on
creepy.
me.
It's very creepy what happened to you. And again, just the fact that they set your court date for your 56th birthday. And yeah, it doesn't make sense, because that when I found out you got arrested, I looked up your record that night, and then I ended up talking to you when you got out, which was nice to know you were out. But I was like, God, they kept her in there for over a day.
It was
And
horrible.
yeah, so what I was going to say to people is, the warning is for New York, you might not want to fly. You might want to stick to driving, because, again, the airports are federal. And I know for a fact the feds are harassing this community and keeping tabs on this community. And sadly, that's the age we live in, the age of databases and surveillance. But of course, the interstates are federal too. But you were the one who got the short straw. You're the one who had the horrible trip there because of what happened to you. And I'm just thinking maybe that's a reason to stay out of the airport for the next person. So.
Well, I'll tell you this. I first of all, I didn't want to fly. And when I first heard that, you were planning this, I was all over, telling people, like, I really was trying to find somebody to drive with me. I would have drove 15 hours. I just didn't want to drive 15 hours by myself.
Sure.
And so that's why I ended up going with flying, which, I haven't flown in years. Even without the whole arresting, it's horrible. It's horrible. You're cramped in a plane. I had to sit next to somebody who was very obese when my one flight got changed. And just people I don't know. I just prefer driving, but there is no way in hell I will ever fly by myself again.
Well, Denise, seriously, if you need funds for the hassles and the legal stuff, let me know, because I'm happy to help you out for coming out and supporting. And I'm sorry you had to go through all that. And in a way, it sucks to even have to tell this story, because this might scare away 10 people who might show up. But I mean, it really did happen.
Kind
so
of holding off, and not to mention, it's just like it just happened, and then I had to keep telling people about it, which I get it. Everybody wanted to know, but like I said, it was so nice to get home, but like I could really tell, like, just I'm very jumpy. I'm shaky. I'm anxious. I'm sleeping well, which, that's good. But, I could just tell, like, this definitely affected me. And it was scary. And I truly do wonder, like, I just started thinking about that. Like, my adrenaline was through the roof. And like, all of a sudden, like, I mean, I just can't remember anything, for like that time. And then all of a sudden I just remember like being thrown in a cell. I don't know.
When people experience trauma, sometimes they tend to forget things, and it's kind of traumatic.
I'm thinking, or maybe I was so terrified. What I fainted. Like I've never fainted before in my life, but it was traumatizing, and I just kind of wonder, like, I guess I'm going to try to fill out that form and just try to make it the best that I can, saying what I want. But I'm really. I don't really have a legal background, so I don't know. Should I try to hire an attorney? I don't have money for that. But, they're like, you can have a public defender. Well, that's a joke. They really don't do anything for you. They're in the cahoots with the whole, system.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, look into what you got to do to get the footage of your arrest, because that is something that should be within the realm of possibility. And yeah, if it is, as you're saying, just it sounds like you do have a case. So maybe as a community, we can help raise some funds and help you out with that, because yeah, I mean, what happened to you, it should never happen to anyone again. And how
can I just be, walking up to my gate, and I wasn't even like, I was just disorderly conduct, cuffs on.
So okay, you're
tight,
drinking,
dragged, that's not right.
What all do you remember? Okay, so you went to the restaurant. You said you had a meal and a glass of wine, and then you went to another bar and you got another 2 drinks.
Yeah, like I had actually, like the first place I had a salad. I had a couple glasses of wine. I was speaking with my daughter on the phone, and then like I just remember seeing the text, my flight was being delayed, so I'm talking to her, and then I kind of just like thought, I'm gonna get up and go just take a walk around since I had the delay. Found the other place, sat down there, and after I was done, and decided to go take a check on, what, if anybody was over there, if anybody knew about, why the flight was delayed, or, and not to mention, I didn't want to miss it. I was excited. I was a little nervous to meet everybody, but I was really excited and in a good mood. I wasn't, and I would remember having, some type of bad, conversation or something with somebody. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And that's why I want the video of that cop, because I think if people would see what he did to me, I just think that right there, but also, well, if you're accusing me of disorderly conduct, I'd like details. Who, when, where, why, how.
Did you talk to, do you remember if you talked to anybody at the bar and said anything?
I said, I remember the second bar, there was a guy sitting like about maybe 4 seats down from me, and he was watching, I don't even know what was on, sports, baseball, something. And I said something to him about, oh, do you like sports? I said, if you happen to gamble, I could teach you something about a way to increase your odds of winning. Would you like to learn about gematria or something? I tried to, open up a conversation. He was not interested. That was it. I didn't say 2 more words to him. And then I would, because it wasn't crowded in there. So then I was just sitting there, and then these 2 younger girls came in, and they were eating, and, small talk with them. And then I do think that I might have pulled out one of the folders that I made for Richard, because it had like all the riddles in it, and probably asked them, like, did they want to see it? They didn't seem real interested, but there were no harsh words. These girls weren't like, I was bothering them. And, and I believe I got up and left before they did, I don't know. Like, I really wasn't keeping track of what was happening in what order, just because I really never thought that I would have to recall it, but,
Sure.
I definitely think that I was targeted. That was just crazy for a cop just to be able to come up, not give me any explanation, and just violently arrest me and have me in so much pain. And while he's dragging me out, that was even more pain. I couldn't even believe it. Like, I was godsmacked. I could not believe what was happening to me.
Yeah, you really got to get the footage and pursue your case, because it does seem just super twisted. It does suck to have to go against the system, though. But
Yeah, it's not pleasant, to have, 2 months to look forward to that. But, Zach, like you were saying, I don't want anybody to be discouraged from coming out to support the work. See, I live on a busy street.
I'm just looking online. It says you can.
That's the other thing. I'm here last night. A bar is right across the street from me, and it's probably one of the less desirable bars here in Ravenna. But it's a tiny bar. All of a sudden, this huge fight, people come spilling out of that place. There had to have been like 30, 40 people. Huge fist fight happens. People were down on the ground kicking each other, kicking cars in. The cops came, and I don't think I saw one person get arrested out there. I don't know if there was just like one guy that was causing it. Maybe he did, but I mean, there was way more than just one person fighting. This is like a crazy fight. And I'm thinking, and look at that. Nobody got charged with disorderly conduct or anything.
Right.
I mean, come on. I did not do anything, but what I was saying, sorry, was don't let this discourage you. Just be smart. Do not fly alone. And for me, I'm not going to advertise, if I'm going anywhere, I'll promote things just like I'm promoting them. But I'm just going to be a lot more careful about people being able to figure out where I'm going to be.
It's funny, when I looked up your arrest that night before I talked to you, I saw the date that they had your court date, and I said, that's funny. They set her court date for the day, leaving 194 days left in the year when she's coming down here for the 19/4 event. But then to find out it was your 56th birthday, I was like, wow. So then her 56th birthday too. Okay. And they let her out at 56 minutes after the hour. So.
Yeah, just and the thing is if I would try to say that to my daughter, she would probably just think, oh, right, Mom. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of upset about that too, that, she just, she's mad that this happened to me, you know? I'm thinking like, I don't think that she understands the I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, like the seriousness of what happened to me.
Sure. Well, here I think
they
you
do whatever
so
they want.
Denise, it says you can get the video. You have to go to the local airport authority and request the video surveillance in 30 days or less. So if you haven't done that, I think you should definitely do that.
Okay, so and I'm guessing that I could just now that form, I think the one that Angel sent me, I want to say that is from Hennepin County. So I'm guessing I'm probably going to have to contact the airport. I think that's called the Metropolitan Airport Police. I guess I'm going to have to contact them. But yeah, that was the other thing too, is it's just like, you know, I'm just still kind of reeling from it, you know? So it was just one of those things where I was just like, I just don't even want to look at this or think about it for like, you know, like I just need to calm down and like, but I'm getting there. You know, just going to work is good, kind of keeps my mind off of it. I don't know, but I appreciate you letting me call in and talk about it. You know, that was one of the things that was just like, you know, should I be outraged about this and like posting this all over the place? What happened to me? Or should I just kind of, you know, keep it quiet? And I don't know. The whole thing is just really weird. And
Well, yeah, I think you should pursue, you know, justice, because it was an injustice was committed against you. You lost a day of your life. You probably had to pay for an extra plane ticket. You lost jewelry. You
no,
got
I did
bruised.
not. Actually, I got lucky on that, but I did have to pay. Thank God I had it on me too. $78 cash I had on me, or I had more on me, but that's what it cost for me to like get myself out of there.
It's funny that they charge 78.
But they said that the fine will be 300, and but I'm thinking like, but why is this? Why is it still open? You know, don't you think it would be a simple open and shut case? Like, well, if I even knew what I did, because I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Denise, I'd make it a priority to get that footage, because, you know.
Okay, well, I'm going to be putting in a phone call then tomorrow to the airport police and also that other form. I'm just going to fill it out.
I'm not sure the airport police is who you want to contact. You want to contact the airport authority. They have the surveillance. The police probably would not cooperate with you at all. They don't want to get in trouble.
Oh,
you need to contact
okay,
you need to contact the airport and say what gate you were at and what time it was and where the arrest was, and that you want that footage of the arrest because you believe that you were, you know, illegally arrested on no grounds. So.
Okay, so call the airport.
Yeah, not the police.
Yeah, but the one for, I mean, at the jail, you know, that's the one that I have the form for that Angel Z sent to me. That is through Hennepin County Jail in order to get the footage from there, which that I really don't care if I get. I mean, you know, they just do what they do to you in there. The other thing is they make you freezing. Me and the two other girls that I ended up with, once they did take me out of there, it was still just like hours on end up there with these two. But all three of us, you have your arms tucked into your shirt, like just pulled in because you're freezing. I didn't have any socks down there. I was just so cold. I can't even explain it. And yeah, and they made me take off all my clothes. There was a camera in there. They made me strip down naked and put on the prison uniform, like with camera on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was sickening. Yeah. I was just like, I can't even believe this. But yeah, just a horrible place. I mean, they do what they do to you. And, you know, really, I just had to go through what I had to go through in there. But what I want footage of is I want the airport footage. That's what I want.
Yeah, you should get that. Well, Denise, keep us posted, and if you need anything, let me know. I'm happy to help you out. But yeah, you should really get that footage. So
I will, Zach. And you know what? And aside from all that, I am so glad that I went. It was so nice to meet everybody at the exact same thing that everybody was saying, because I've been watching all the different streams that everybody's posting. There was a feeling that's like nothing I've ever felt before. There was an energy. People were drawn to us. We were like nothing else. Like that's all I could think about was, just all the crazy people out there with their flags screaming, and they do look like they're crazy.
sure.
But it was wonderful. I loved every single person that I met, and if I can be in New York City, I will definitely be there.
All right, Denise, and hopefully next time you'll have someone to carpool with. But yeah, don't fly.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I will not be flying. That's for sure.
indeed.
But thanks for hearing me, Zach.
Of course, and thanks for coming, Denise. And the thing is, I think a lot of people, after that experience, they would have just even stopped trying to go there. But you ended up making it there, and I got the group photo up on the screen. Denise is actually right in the middle of that photo. She's with the blonde hair and the black hat, so she made it despite the major setback. And thanks again for coming out, Denise. I am sorry that happened, and it does worry me. I mean, I really do think that you were targeted, and they made some kind of ritualistic example out of you. And again, because they knew eventually, that's part of the thing too. They knew eventually this tell the story, and there are people that are going to hear this story and then be like, "Oh man, I don't want to do anything like that. I don't want to end up in a jail cell." So
Yeah. And that, like I said too, it's like, it's so weird. There's a part of me that's almost feeling like bad that it happened, just because of that.
well,
I'm
and
like,
then
oh my
here's my
gosh,
other thing
this
I'd say
gonna
is, you guys,
make people
like I always
scared.
say, alcohol is a bad thing. I don't really drink, and sorry to Frank. Frank wanted to get a shot with me, but like I said, I wasn't going to drink on the trip. Again, I just know alcohol doesn't really. I mean, it's okay to have a responsible drink, but just like you said, even from drinking, you were like in a state of mind where you can't even exactly remember what happened. And
Yeah, and I shouldn't be drinking. Number one, it just, it's poison. It's never done anything good for me. And also, at this point in the game, I don't have any issues unless I drink, and it will start atrial fibrillation. If I drink often.
sure.
But no, I wish to God that I didn't drink. I prefer other things anyways, but no, I really wish that I didn't drink that day. And but I'm telling you right now, if it had anything to do with my drinking, then why was I not given?
Exactly. I mean, people
Yeah,
drink at the
come
airport,
on.
so it doesn't make sense. But stay strong,
Yeah.
Denise. And again, if you need anything, let us know. And if you need help trying to get that airport footage, there should be a way to get it. You should have the rights to that. So
Okay, well, I'm gonna start on that tomorrow, and just I'll get over this. You know what I mean? It was just.
And Denise, the next time you're in a big group of people, a lot of us had cell phone chargers. So make sure you ask somebody if they can help you charge your cell phone. You didn't have to go back to your room. That was the other thing. So
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to do that, and not to mention, I was so nervous about like my flight and stuff. I wanted to check on stuff like that. But yeah, I am sorry that I missed the last night with you guys. But still, it was just such a great experience. If you have the chance to go on one of these trips, please do not pass it up.
indeed. And that's coming from the person who had the worst experience there because of everything she had to go through to get there. So I'm glad it still worked out for you, Denise. And I look forward to next time. And again, keep us posted. And I am happy to help you out. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Excellent group of people.
Okay, Denise. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I wish you well on seeking justice. And yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll owe you a big payment. You can help us achieve the goals we need to achieve. So,
wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be something? That would be awesome. So,
well, I guess we will see. Okay, well, I'm going to let somebody else talk. So, thanks for hearing me out, and I'll be definitely in the chat.
All right, Denise. You have a good day.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah,
you
take
too.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, and we got another man in the room, and Fizzy for Facts. What's up?
Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I just wanted to do some decodes here.
Okay.
Play
Okay.
basketball. Been
Alrighty.
watching games. So game 2, it's a lot of 117 and 107. The final score 17 and 117. It's a bunch of that going through the game. You got the game 2. They finished the score 107 points.
Which series is this again? I'll put it up on the screen while you talk about it.
This is gonna be Brooklyn Nets game 2 and the Boston Celtics.
All right. What day was it?
Not positive what the day was.
Oh, bro, it was April 20th. Okay.
Yeah, okay, April 20th. Okay, game 2, 107. You got the Brooklyn Nets equals 170. And there's your 17 in there. And you got the Melbourne, Australia for 117. Both Kyrie and Ben Simmons, both are from there. And KD and Kyrie combined for 1 for 17. These are all in the what they're putting up at the end of the game. Combined 1 for 17. Kyrie and KD in the second half. Then you got Kyrie wears the number 11 and KD wears the number 7.
Right.
You also have the intelligence agency 117. And there was another, I'm not sure if this was the same game, but they had Kyrie Irving putting out the middle finger.
Okay.
Okay, it's actually called flipping the bird. It's called flipping the bird equals 79, and Irving equals 79 as well. And then we go over to the Memphis Grizzlies and the Timberwolves game. They had audio difficulties. The first quarter, it lasted for like a good 15 to 20 minutes. They went to like Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose, and all of them instead of the announcers. And audio difficulties equals 83. Grizzlies and Memphis Grizzlies also equals 83.
Okay.
Okay, and another one for the Grizzlies. There's like 2 fans. One ended up running onto the court. It was supposed to be some like animal activist rights thing. Animal rights equals 131, and also Grizzlies equals 131.
Okay.
Then the other day before the Atlanta and the Miami Heat game, the game was supposed to start at about 7:00, but they had a delay, said there was a suspicious package on the outside. It's supposed to be a bomb threat. Okay, and suspicious package, this the headlines, equals 69, and Atlanta equals 69.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've been basically been following all the playoffs. That's what I mainly do. Is just watch basketball.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny when you're aware of this how you just see all the little storylines factor in, and they got the right numbers.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times it's a clue for the outcome of the game too. Indeed. So.
For sure. But yeah, I feel like they've been doing stuff with Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons and like James Harden all year. So I'm thinking Golden State and maybe Philadelphia somehow match up.
It's possible. I remember earlier this year when the Warriors lost, they fell to 20-5 to start the season in the 205 area code, Philadelphia. And again, it is the 76th pro basketball season. They're the 2 teams with Philly connections. Even though I haven't been paying attention to basketball, I'll be surprised if at least one of those 2 teams doesn't make it.
Yeah, I put in the future for the Golden State to make it to the finals in the beginning. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's looking like they're clicking really good too.
I see Embiid has a torn ligament in his thumb. I don't know how serious that is, how it affects his play, but I see that's one of the storylines out there. So,
yeah, well, that was basically it. Yeah, and it's Fizzy Fate Facts. And I'm a New Yorker, but I live out here in Charlotte now.
Also, could you make it out to New York for September 11th if we came out for 2022?
In New York, I probably won't be able to make it to New York. I live here in Charlotte now.
Okay.
Pretty busy.
So. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your deco, man. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, you have a good night, man. You're welcome.
You.
Take care. All right, we got another gentleman hopping on. Randy. What's up, Randy?
All right, no problem. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, you have a good night, man. You're welcome.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going well. It sounds like you might have a little delay on your end, but if you don't watch through the YouTube and just watch through the StreamYard thing you ended, you should be in real time.
Gotcha. Okay, I just took care of that. Okay, so I called in to you probably like a couple months ago about a date centered around Revelation.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm about to lay out for you is not something that's really my opinion. This is the scripture that we're living out. So if you go through Revelation in its entirety and you decode the text, in simple English, it equals 532,033.
Are you saying all the words in all of Revelation?
All of it, the text in its entirety.
Is that the King James version?
NIV.
And New International Version. Okay.
It's the NIV, but the King James Version and NIV are pretty much the two most popular Bibles.
Yeah.
But to support my position, I'm going to hop over to KJV. So when I came across that, obviously when you have it in a calculator, it reads like a date. And, seems pretty relevant to the times. So, it's not an arbitrary number. But in understanding that Revelation is kind of an end times prophecy, I went to the book of Daniel. And the book of Daniel it prophesied, 4 beasts, and the third is America. And when you go through the 4th beast and you decode that in full reduction, you get a value of, in the New International Version, of 717. So the 717th prime number is 5,431, and the 5,431st prime number is 53,233. Okay, so you have a logical and mathematical relationship right there. Now you hop over to KJV, and despite it being written differently, you have a value in the same cipher of 706, and the 706 prime number is 5,333. Now, these are the only 2 numbers within this very big ballpark that can have a mathematical relationship with 5,333. So in understanding this, when I take a lot of your work and I kind of try to line it up with the scripture, and it goes hand in hand just like this. It's all intertwined. But it puts the remaining 7-year tribulation period we have, because in my research, the date centered around Revelation that I talk about, to me, what's been communicated to us is that is the date centered around the mark of the beast. That is the date centered around whatever new world order we have, whatever is culturally relevant at the times. That's going to be the seat for Satan. And that's the center point of the tribulation period. Now, in my research, and again, it's really not an opinion. This is what's being communicated to us. This is the scripture that we're living out. The 7-year tribulation period would start November 2nd of 2029 and carry us to 2036. So, and Barack Obama really has been, it's been communicated to us that he's going to be the man that reigns during that time. This guy, he won the 50. So if you go through Revelation 13:18, has values of 1229, which is the 201st prime number, and 473 in the first 2 ciphers. And so you have him winning the 56th presidential election. Okay, we all know who the 56 Club is, or the first beast. And in Revelation, the second beast gives authority to the first beast. Now, he wins on October 4th, or November 4th of 2008. And he's exactly 47 years and 3 months old, just like the value of Revelation on that date. And then when he gets sworn in, and the only date you can get sworn in on the Gregorian calendar, it reads 1229. So you have a very improbable pairing of the 2 Revelation numbers, with his entrance to the world stage. So I just wanted to lay out that foundation, and whoever listening, they can build upon that.
The thing you're talking about right now, have you posted this anywhere for people to look at?
Yeah, I tried to do I'm not really YouTube savvy, but I started a YouTube channel, and I just kind of show how things are in alignment with this.
What's your YouTube channel?
It's Pro Stalker 888. I'm a private investigator. That's what the name is in reference to.
Sure. Pro Stalker 888. Is there a space in it?
No, it's PROSTALKER 888.
And they're all spaced apart. Pro Stalker 888, or they're all together?
All together.
Oh, all together. I see. Okay, I see it. I see it. Here, let me put it up here so other people can see it.
So a lot of the a lot of the world events like 9/11, they're all in alignment with this date. Okay, so for instance, like the fourth beast is very, very important. The numbers in Daniel 7:7 and Daniel 7:23 describe a fourth beast, and that's essentially just our new world order that's coming. And those numbers that are associated with those verses, they use a lot. So be it in sports, world events, whatever it may be.
Okay. Yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah, that was that was a good thought to look at the whole value of all the words. So the information you're sharing, which one of these videos on your channel do you really get into that? Is it Barack Obama one?
No, it's probably the first one I did. It's when is the mark of the beast, and then all this like subsequent videos are just like me kind of showing how stuff is in alignment with it.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out because I haven't heard anybody look at it all together combined, so I find that interesting.
Okay. Well, that's all. I mean, that's all I had. I just want to share that, man. I just want to explain myself a little better. So,
all right. Well, I appreciate it, Randy, and I'll check out the channel. So keep up the research. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right. Yeah. You take care. And as Randy leaves, we got Mr. Stonewood, who's back for another Sunday show. What's up, Stonewood?
How's the audio today? How many second delay?
You probably responded to me about 2-3 seconds after I asked, so not too bad.
Okay, cool. 2-3 seconds. I just jumped in. I heard maybe like your first 15-20 minute intro, so I don't even know what anybody said. If I repeat something and sound stupid, forgive me. I got a couple things that are just totally related to you going out to Oklahoma City. First of all, congratulations. You're proving the universe and the creator correct here with if you build it, they will come. Not he will come, but they will come. That's a Mandela effect scam. But yeah, you proved that if you do the right thing and you go out, people will come out to support you. If you got 30 people, when Jesus was on his traveling ministry, he only had 12. So you in every city you get 20, 30, and that every year goes up, just like you said. That's how we chip away at this. Just like a woodpecker, little by little. So congratulations and thank you for doing the great work, man. That's awesome. I want to talk about the Muir building in general, why they bombed that thing. So they were doing studies on the Gulf War syndrome, why the soldiers were coming back all up. And initially the Gulf.
Oh shit. He has a tough phone connection. He will come back. So while we wait for him to rejoin and share with us, if you guys aren't familiar with Mr. Stonewood, he's a very brilliant guy, so he'll have something very interesting to say. But on mute here, I have the footage playing of what happened to me when I tried to go to the Oklahoma City Memorial Museum for where the building exploded. As I was walking up to the door, I had the police, or not, they're like they're the campus police. They're the campus security, but they got handcuffs and guns. But as I was walking up to the building, I wasn't planning to record any of this. I didn't have my camera out or anything. I was just walking up to the front door. And as I was walking up to the front door, and understand, I've never been to Oklahoma City before. I just gotten into town. It's my first time ever being there. But as I was walking up to the door, that guy with the little patch of hair right here on his chin, he said, are you Zach Hubbard? And I said, I am. And as soon as I said that, he immediately went hands on. He grabbed me with both hands and started trying to shove me backwards. And I was trying to stand my ground. I said, dude, what are you doing? I said, I'm just here to go to the museum. He's like, you're not welcome on the ground. You're, and then he gets on the microphone and his walkie-talkie and he calls for Pat. There was 2 white guys there, and then they had to call for the black guy. I was like, what is this about? They got to call for the black guy. And then the black guy, he was the most touchy. He liked to shove, but, anyway, I got them to essentially explain that they didn't have any reason to keep me off the grounds other than their boss told them to. And then I decided I'd just share with them the knowledge that I came down there. And I also gave that guy some nutrition tips so he can work on the old complexion there. But yeah, it was just like unbelievable. I get into town. I'm going to go to the museum and just walk through the memorial and see if I can pick up on some additional information. But man, they would not even let me in the building. And then later, after I talked to him, I came back later to see if the boss was around yet to give me an explanation of why I couldn't come on. And they were annoyed because they found out this video had been uploaded to the internet. But I did get this guy right here to apologize, and he actually said the work's pretty interesting. And I also got them to, he told me that they had a meeting that I was coming down. They even knew I was coming from Washington State. So I thought, how about that? They had to have a meeting there with security that I was coming down. And he didn't say it, but the one over here with the, who could eat a little bit cleaner, he said that, he goes, we were worried you were going to be, telling people in the museum, your information. And I was like, well, I actually wasn't planning on doing that. I just wanted to come in here for research purposes. But I said, even still, I mean, what, you guys are worried somebody's going to come in the place and practice the First Amendment, a narrative that runs counter to, well, somebody told me if you go in that museum and pay attention to all the artifacts and things that are written there, that there's no way you could ever believe the official story. The official story doesn't make sense if you look at what's actually written in the museum. So they just don't want people to think. But yeah, and yeah, that was the welcome to. Oh, yeah, Stonewood emailed and he said it'd be easier if I could call the 509 number. So don't call into the 509 number. Let Stonewood call in because he's got something to share here about the bombing of the building. But yeah, go ahead. The line's open if you want to call the 509 number, Stonewood. So that should work better. But yeah, if you guys want to watch this video and see the interaction, it is on Gematria Effect News 23. It's also on my Instagram, and even Low Impact Flicks did a decode on it. Is this decode, Stonewood?
Nah, man.
Okay.
It's your boy from New York.
Who's my boy from New York?
It's the Hebrew from New York, man.
Okay. Well, here, until DK and Stonewood calls in, you got the floor. Until he calls, but again, I did open it up for him to call in. But what's on your mind? You wanted to get your voice in here tonight. What's going on?
Yo, you ain't see all those 111 and the Friday, April 22nd NBA games? Ain't that 666?
I haven't been paying attention. I've just been trying to get caught up with everything. April 22nd.
When you had it on the
Oh yeah, I see it. All 3 games had 111 in the score. What do you know?
666.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, DK Stonewood is calling in right now, but I do appreciate the heads up on that. Great observation. I'll look more into why they did that. Thank you.
All right.
You take care. All right, I think this is DK Stonewood. 310.
Hey, Zach.
This is Stonewood, right?
Yeah, how's the delay right now? Really bad still?
No, it's good. All right, you got the floor. So the reason they blew up the Murrah building is what you were getting into.
Yeah, probably cut me off right in the beginning. They don't like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, the reason they blew up the Muir building is when the Gulf War started, guys were coming back from the Gulf, and they were all jacked up. And so they, like, way more than before. So they opened up a part of the, I forgot what part of the government, they started studying what the heck Gulf War syndrome is. And they found out it wasn't actually PTSD. It was the emotional reaction these soldiers were having for doing the government's evil. Because when they got over there, they realized it had nothing to do with what we were being told. And they were just, stealing resources and guarding opium and such. So the part of where they were storing all these records for the Gulf War syndrome was in the Muir building, right at the spot that they bombed. So they didn't want that to get out and military, like, recruitment to go down and all that like it is now. So they bombed that to basically get rid of all the evidence of what Gulf War syndrome actually was, just like they shot that missile at the Pentagon on 9/11, exactly at the area where they lost the 2.3 trillion that Rumsfeld had announced the day before. And then to get deeper into, the Muir building bombing, I heard a guy when you were walking around talking about, I don't know if he was part of your group or he came up in Oklahoma City talking about Judy Berry Baker, and you said you hadn't heard about her. So this woman, this is like maybe max 5 years before the JFK assassination, somewhere around there. So this woman, she was like a 19-year-old college student, I think Virginia Tech. So she had her aunt like died of cancer. So this woman was like in there thinking she's gonna find the cure for cancer, right? In her medical, in her biology lab in college. And on accident, she discovered this super fast-acting cancer. The CIA got wind of this, and they basically commandeered this whole group of students that Judy was with, and told them, "Hey, listen, we're trying to make a poison that could kill Fidel Castro, but nobody would know where it came from. And this is perfect. You got a fast-acting cancer. What we want you to do is we want you to figure out how to make this cancer so if they try to radiate it and break down the tumor, that it actually increases." So the CIA funded Judy Berry Baker and this group of students to work on this fast-acting cancer that she had discovered. So if somebody tried to hit it with radio frequencies, it would actually increase. Of course, you don't get rid of cancer by radiation. That causes cancer. So they know they're going to radiate us with 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and all this stuff. Remember, this is, 60-some years ago. So Oswald was working for the CIA as a runner. So what he was doing is he would go to like these students where, where Judy was working. And so they were getting like monkey tumors and putting, cancer causing stuff in it, injecting it into monkeys, having it develop, taking it back out, reblending it up, adding more stuff, putting it back into another monkey. So they just kept doing this over and over again. And Oswald was the runner. He was the one running this stuff, these samples to labs here and there. And Judy Berry Baker ended up having an affair with him. She wrote a book. I forgot what it's called. Ole Damagard's done some extensive interviews with her, but she said that there was 3 plans to kill JFK, and that Oswald had found out about it, and that they were going to pin it on him, that he actually had foiled the first 2 plans, and Dallas was the third one. That was the third, like the final, their final staged, if it doesn't work like the first 2 times, that was the third one that ended up working. And of course, they had to totally fake it. You had pictures of George Bush Sr. leaning up against the school book depository during that time, and there was like 4 or 5 presidents in Dallas while it happened. Then later they asked Bush Sr. where he was, and he said he was nowhere around the area. And they're like, "What do you mean? Here's a picture of you against the school book depository." So, "Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot." Like, who forgets they were at the JFK assassination live? I mean, come on.
Right.
So that was that story. I got one for AT&T. If you want to hear that, I heard you mention what the heck is going on with AT&T.
Right.
If you want, pull up the AT&T logo. It's there. It's like the blue ball with the
lines,
with the stripes on it, the white line. Yeah. So okay, when we look at Saturn, it looks like an eye every, I forget how many years, because it tilts. And of course, It's the ring that causes it to look like an eye. Without the ring around it, it's just another dot in the sky like everything else. So it's that ring that causes it to look like an eye when it tilts, and we could see the back of the ring. That would be hidden. It would be boxed out by the planet from our view. So, and we call it one eye. You know, that's where we get the eye. You know, and then we got the Mon eye, the one eye on the back of our money, the Mon eye on the back of our money. So if you look at you know, the Saturn as the one eye, you look at that logo of AT&T with the 5 rings. They're the 5 eyes. So you know, now. You were talking about the building in the AT&T building in Oklahoma City, and these AT&T buildings are actually famous in all big cities. Everybody talks about that new one in New York with no windows on it at all. They claim the NSA's in there, and that the whole thing on the outside looks like a big D-Wave computer and all this stuff. And that is on 33 Thomas Street. Before that, they were, and remember that when I said 5 eyes, this number with AT&T 5 is really big. So before they had that big building, that crazy looking building they do right now in New York, they had another one on 550 Madison Avenue. When they moved into the new one, it's 550 stories tall. That one that looks like that 33 Thomas Avenue one that looks like a D-Wave computer. Then you have the one in Nashville they call the Batman Building, which was built in 1991, another 9/11, which is they call the 505 building for some reason. So for some reason, this number 5 is really big with AT&T. Everything's 55 or 5 or 550 or 505. And I haven't even looked into the Oklahoma City one specifically, but I was just looking at AT&T buildings in general. Every single one has it's like a landmark in their city and I got to look at, you know, the street layout. It's probably Trident. That's what I was going to go next is look at Google Maps, Oklahoma City, newer building, and see what the street pattern around it looks like, and then start going into the satellite view and looking at bigger, you know, like other landmarks and stuff like that. What else? I'm at the park right now, so I'm talking off the top of my ass just from what I remember over the last week of looking at stuff while you were traveling around. Anyway, what do you think about? You got a response to anything that I just said?
It's super interesting. Yeah. Again, for people who are out there listening, I just noticed when I was at the Oklahoma City building bombing site, the AT&T building is right above it, and then at the JFK assassination site in Dealey Plaza, the AT&T building is right above it. And of course, AT&T is headquartered out of Dallas, which is just down the road from Oklahoma City. Right now, the Dallas product, who went to high school there, Matt Stafford, he's doing that commercial you've probably seen, Matt Stafford for AT&T right after winning the Super Bowl. And funny enough, AT&T equals 41, Dallas is 41, Super Bowl's 41. And again, Dallas was established in 1841, and 9/11 happened on a 41 date numerology. And again, in 1968, World Trade Center construction began, and AT&T in 1968 made 911 the national emergency dialing code. And of course, the World Trade Centers and 911 came together 33 years later in 2001. And lo and behold, the AT&T building in New York's at 33 Thomas Street. And Thomas means twins, twin towers. And construction on those buildings started 1 year after construction on the World Trade Centers. But the other thing about 68 is the AT&T building in Oklahoma City. It turned 68 years old the year of the 95 Oklahoma City bombing. And again, that came 68 days after the governor's birthday and just all the other 68s in that ritual. But yeah, AT&T, I started to do a little research on it this morning. And I noticed some interesting things about Alexander Graham Bell, who the company's pretty much named after. But
Yep. They
so
broke up the Bell Corporation, and then they started AT&T. I think it was not 82 or something like that. Is it 82 or 84?
well, multiple times with the 82. It's the history of that building. Here, I'll pull up what I just started the research this morning on it. I got a lot more to do. But Alexander Graham Bell died in history on August 2nd, 82. And his full name in the most pure cipher, Alexander Graham Bell's 82. And then Southwestern Bell, which is now what AT&T is, was established in 1882. By the way, they changed their name to Southwestern Bell Telephone Company right before his death. And the gematria of that forwards and backwards, 144 and 153, like Jesuit order. and Alexander Graham Bell died on his 153rd day of his age. Shortly after that became the company name. And that 144 is also encoded in the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, which blew up just beneath it in Oklahoma City. But yeah, when I look through the timeline, they've had a lot of different name changes over the years. But you're right. In 1982, so 100 years after it was officially established, the United States versus AT&T antitrust lawsuit resulted in the in kind of the splitting up of the AT&T subsidiaries. But since then, they've come back together. So
Yeah. I got another one I just remembered from your trip. Can you pull up the Seattle soccer team logo from the MLS?
yeah, let's see. Seattle. What are they called? The Sounders? I'm trying to think right now what their team's called. Sounders. Seattle. Why didn't that work? Oh, I didn't want online. Yeah, Seattle Sounders. Okay, their logo's got the Space Needle in it.
Check out the bottom of the Space Needle. What does the bottom of the Space Needle look like to you?
You mean in their logo?
Uh-huh.
Hold on, let me make it bigger. By the way, I'm glad you brought up their logo because it made me think of something. I got to run this by you in a minute. Oh, the trident.
Okay, so you were going around to the places you guys went. You're finding obelisks, Space Needles, and water fountains that are usually elongated square, like a rectangular one.
Right.
So we talked about before how these are not phallic symbols and stuff like. They're actually antenna. They're antennas that get sound. They're collecting sound information, and that's why they're called the Sounders. And that whole area up there was named Puget Sound after Peter Puget, and a guy named George Vancouver was the guy who named it Puget Sound after this guy Peter Puget. These are English, basically English conquistadors. You know what I mean? When the British Empire was going around taking everything, that these guys, he worked for both of those guys, British Empire guys. Puget was French, but we already know what's going on with France. So what happens is when you have water creates like a magnetic field. So you go to these ancient sites, you have dowsers that either use pendulums or like the two wires they hold in their hand, and they're so grounded and their frequency so high that the frequency runs through them, and they can tell you where the water is underneath and which way it's running. So these ancient sites were typically built on top of water running, usually, let's say 10 feet underground, water's running east-west. Then another 20 feet under that, you have it running like north-south. So it's going opposite ways, creating a magnetic field, which definitely helps out antennas. So if you just put a regular antenna up, it's going to get certain signal. But if you plug that antenna into power, then it's got a lot more, power. It's got a lot more draw. So that's why they're putting, under the Giza Plateau, you have water running from the Nile in crisscross directions right under the Giza Plateau, making it very, electromagnetic, and water is piezoelectric. So those are antennas that those obelisks and the Space Needles, and when you have that Space Needle and then you have a restaurant on top, that's just like putting a radar on a boat. They put it on the top and it spins around in a circle. That's why they got those restaurants spinning around like that. These are definitely antennas. I had something else to say on it, but go ahead. What the point you wanted to run across while I try to think of what else I wanted to say?
Okay, so I just started to think more about the Space Needle because, again, for people who don't know, the Space Needle in Seattle, it's pretty much its most famous landmark. It was put there for the World's Fair in '62, and it's directly across the street from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and, of course, it's the biggest needle in the world. Bill Gates has become the face of vaccines. Of course, he has the same birthday as Jonas Salk, Mr. Polio vaccine. But the other thing is Seattle's in King County, and Corona means crown, coronavirus. The king wears the crown. So King County with the big needle. And remember, the first confirmed case of coronavirus in the world outside of mainland China was in Seattle. But I was thinking more about it. And then I started thinking that, in science fiction, like in War of the Worlds, there's vaccines and germs and alien germs. So I started thinking more as like Space Needle. So it's like outer space, aliens, needle. sci-fi fiction. And then, of course, you know, when you think aliens, you think New Mexico, the 47th state where in 1947 you had the Roswell thing. And then, of course, Seattle's on the 47th parallel. But you got Bill Gates up there, who started Microsoft in New Mexico, then moved it up to the 47th parallel, from the 47th state to the 47th parallel. And same thing with Jeff Bezos, was starting Amazon and his business down in New Mexico, and he looks like an alien, and then moving it up to Seattle with the Space Needle. So it's like, what is going on here? Is this like straight out of War of the Worlds? Is that going to be the future psyop, that the aliens are here and now we got to get vaccinated so we don't catch the killer alien cooties? I mean,
100% it is, Zach. 100%. That's the final psyop. You just
that could, I mean, seriously, that could be the final psyop, because there is it was around the same time COVID came back that all of a sudden there was a lot of coverage in the news with aliens too. So I'm just like, God, is this what they're gonna do?
I got another one that's related. Can you pull up the Mercury logo?
The car brand?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
By the way, Ford closed their Mercury brand in 2010, which is 2010.
Sure. Yeah.
You got that logo up?
I do.
You see it's another Trident. So if you look at this car they were talking about, the Marquis, you were talking about the Mercury Marquis, right?
Right.
Okay, so they have that model and the Grand Marquis. So Marquis, they're not talking about Marquis like Marquee, which is like, you know, in front of a movie theater, the awning on top with all the movies that are playing. That's like the Marquis, or like you have your, you know, Marquee player, or your Marquee, you know, product that you sell for your business. You know, that's your flagship model. But that's not how Marquis on the car is spelled. It's Marquis, which is a French word, and it's a title right underneath a Duke. You know, so these are former cop cars, and then you have like the other cop cars, the Ford Crown Victoria, literally Crown Victoria, Crown Corporation, Queen Victoria. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
The Grand Marquis is a noble, some type of above a nobleman under a duke. So they're even naming, and then also they have the Mercury Marauder, which was a cop car. Pull up Marauder mascot, and you'll be shocked why the hell that's the mascot for Marauder. So
Marauder mascot. The pirate?
You got the skull and bones right there, and that was a cop car too. So then the other cars that they have are all related to space. So like space or cats, like the Mercury Comet, the Sphinx, the Lynx. They have like 5 cat names and a couple, you know, names of like, you know, astrological name like comets. So all the names of all the Mercury cars were kind of like encoded all throughout history. And another thing, you know what? I just going to mention this. I forgot to mention the dates that those AT&T buildings were built. They're all like, I have to have you look at that because I'm not a gematria guy, but all the dates were encoded on every single one of those buildings. But yeah, so another one, can you pull up the still frame at 39 seconds on the Weird Al Yankovic foil video? Just pull up 39 seconds. And while you're doing that, tell me what 39 means again, gematria-wise.
Well, I mean, it could mean a number of things, but just like New York is the only 2 states that equal 39 are New York and Arizona. The word empire is also 39. That was the World Series after 9/11. Words like masonry and secrecy have gematria 39. So does federal.
It's got to be empire then, because I was thinking, what does the number 39 have to do with like rulers and rulership and overlords? Is it connected to that, or like empire? You said it is empire, right?
Yep. Yeah, empire.
Check out what Weird Al Yankovic is showing us at the 39-second mark.
Okay, Weird Al Yankovic foil, right? Why is this not coming up right now?
Yeah, go to official video, because there's another video that somebody put up there that's clickbait that just says Weird Al foil video, and it has, you know, a picture of him, but it's clickbait. It's totally different video. It doesn't show any of the stuff the actual video does, which is all disclosure.
Okay.
But anyway, that what
Here,
Gentlemen, 39 seconds.
I'm gonna put it up here. So it looks like at 39 seconds, it's let me see. I'll just start playing it at 37 seconds. So he's like in a cooking show, 39 cooking show, and then it goes to him putting saran wrap over his face.
On 39 seconds is the video. You got to freeze frame it like right when it's going from the 38-second mark to the 39-second mark, and he's holding things in his hands and showing you. I think it's either right before.
He's got
or right
like
after he puts the
a
saran-
jar, a Tupperware, and a plastic Ziploc bag.
How many hands does he have?
3.
And what are they in the shape of?
I see. Interesting. Yeah.
What is that? So I was wondering, why is he throwing that up at the 39-second mark? And it's the only time in the video, in the first half of the video, that he does anything like a cult. Then the whole second half of the video is like him explaining all the, like disclosure. But I caught that and I was like, what the heck is that? Throwing up a trident like that, showing you the third hand of the black magician.
Okay, so again, for people who are following, the World Trade Centers that collapsed on 9/11 in New York had the trident all on the outside of them. And again, the mission to kill Osama bin Laden was called Operation Neptune Spear, and Neptune's Poseidon, who carries the trident. And then, his arms here kind of look like a trident. But yeah, right at the tail end or right as it ticks into 39 seconds, you do see him up there with the 3 arms. So that is interesting.
While you're there on YouTube, I noticed something like last week when you were talking about solving for zero, the Bill Gates thing.
Right.
Well, type in on YouTube "Saved by Zero" by The Fix.
By who?
A fix. Like, we're gonna fix it.
I see.
We're gonna fix it by going to zero emissions.
Okay.
How long is that video?
Let me see. So on a cell phone, it would probably say 333. On a computer, it's 332. So
Yeah, 333.
for people who don't know, if you look on your cell phone, it'll always add +1 second to a YouTube video. So that's why you'll see people start arguing in the comments because they don't know. Somebody's looking on a cell phone. Like on a computer, it's 332, but I know on a cell phone, it'll add a second. So it's 333. And I don't know why YouTube does that, but they do.
Probably most people are consuming through their,
Phone.
their pocket held track device, I would say.
But
over
I
the
don't know why
computer
they
now.
add a second on cell phone. It's kind of weird. You think it would be the same on a computer or a cell phone, but they add 1 second on a cell phone.
Huh. Maybe it's the delay to get to the cell phone.
I don't know what it is.
I got a 3-second delay. They should add 3 seconds to the videos on my phone.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have that's in my head. I got a bunch of shit written down, but I can't think of it right now. I'm still at the park.
Okay, well, I appreciate all the information as always. So it gave me some more things to look into. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and congratulations again on the trip. It was great. And, hopefully the truth train comes through my town soon.
You know a lot about a lot of things. What do you think? Denise, who got arrested at the airport for seemingly mysterious reasons, only to have them schedule her court date for her 56th birthday. She should be able to get the airport footage of that, shouldn't she?
Yeah, I didn't even hear that part of the story because I was trying to connect, and people were talking, but my thing was just cutting out. So I'll have to go back and listen to that one.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I thought maybe you might have some advice since you know a lot about a lot of things. But I think if she requests for the footage from the airport, she should be able to get it. So.
Yeah. Was she recording on her own phone too while it was happening?
No, it just happened to her real fast. They just came up and kind of put hands on and arrested her. So.
I remember you talking about it roughly like through on one of your streams that somebody got in a lot of trouble on the way here at a restaurant. Was it a restaurant or something you said?
Airport.
Bar restaurant in the airport?
Yeah. So.
That sucks.
All right, man.
I'll have to go back and listen.
Yeah. Maybe in the next stream you'll have some advice for her. So anyway, I appreciate it as always, and you have a good rest of your night.
You too. Take care.
All right. Yeah. See. All right, you guys. We'll leave it there. Again, we'll do a better Sunday show next week. But somebody keeps calling back in. I think it's the same guy who just called in. 646.
Yo, Jack.
Yeah, what's up?
Yo, it's your voice from New York.
Yeah, what's up, man? You were saying how all the teams scored 111 on April 22nd. So what else is going on?
I was saying 111. Yesterday I called. I was the last caller. It looked like tonight I'm gonna be the last caller. I was talking about Chris Paul, 2 weeks and 13 days. But I wanted to add, like, well, you should make a gematria dictionary. You know, just gematria dictionary, have words, and then have the thing, the numerology.
Sure.
And there's other, and I do like Hebrew, so I do Hebrew numerology. You know, I mess with the words. There's other numbers that you don't know about.
Of course.
I just wanted to know if you knew.
There's always more to learn.
Yeah, like, so like how it has the calendar, you start from January, and if it's the end of the year, you could also start from October, which is like the civil year. In Hebrew, you start from October, and you go 300, and, 64 the other way. You know?
Okay.
You could start seasonal. So, you have the spring, you have the summer, you have the fall. So you can start from those. So you can start those 90 days. So you have 1 day and could be 89 days left from the season. You get that?
Okay.
I don't know if you you can also start the days leading into the next season. So let's say if he was in spring, you could say the days leading into winter.
Okay.
It's just that's all Hebrew is. It's just you just compounding a compounding of energy. So if you look at it like you have Nissan, then you have Abib, like that's the season. The spring season, then you have the spiritual land would be Judah. That's the second most spiritual land would be Taurus, which is Issachar, Sivan, Gemini, and just build from there. Then you have the judges. So I just wanted you to know, like there's more numbers,
Indeed.
So, and with more numbers, there's more unraveling to the story. You coming to New York? You can't do that in New York. You can't be having the AK-47. You gotta chill.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, certain states have different laws, so I don't think New York's cool with the open carry, unfortunately. But that should be a reminder to people that in New York you have even less rights and liberties. So
yeah, and
isn't it amazing how it works when you really think about it? The federal government does terrorism against the people, blames it on a boogeyman, and then takes away your rights and liberties so that you have even less of a chance of fighting back against their evil. And people don't see it for what it is. So
that's their order out of chaos.
Yeah.
All
All right, man. Well, I appreciate that piece of information. So thank you. Yeah, there's always more.
There's always more numbers.
All right, friend. Right. I appreciate it.
Have a good one, yo.
You too.
Good night to the Truth Seeker family, man. Everybody have a good night, yo. And congratulations to everybody that came on. I was watching, man. Much love from New York. Your boy from New York.
All right, man. All right, I hope to see you there September 11th. Yeah, you have a good night.
I'm gonna be there. One.
All right, see you, man. All right, we got another caller, and just so you know, if you can keep it short and sweet, I got to wrap it up because I got to eat something. I'm hungry. But what's going on?
Hey, I'm cooking dinner too, so don't worry about it. I don't know how sweet it's going to be, but I'll try to keep it short. And thanks for taking the call. So I know that I said something to you the other day about the 2216 thing. I've been trying to put comments on. I think that they're really shadow banning what I've been saying recently about this. You know, that the 22:16, that Revelation 22:16 is a huge deal because of the fact that it being the last chapter and then talking about disclosing, quote unquote, Jesus as Morning Star. It only happens one other time in the Hebrew text, and that was in Isaiah 14. And when you go back to the Septuagint and look at what it says, I mean, it's calling him an evil seed. And all of this 22:16 ritual stuff we've been seeing recently, I mean, it's heavy. Like, it's all over the place. So, you know, I mentioned something to you like a week or two ago about Derek had uncovered the 22:16 with Will Smith. You know, his day and age, or his age and days of the slap incident was the 2216th prime number. And then Barack Obama visiting the White House on the 95th day of the year, he's exactly 22,160 days old on that day, the 95th day of the year. And then Revelation 22:16, the King James Version, that verse equals exactly 2022 in reverse English ordinal, which is the one that lined up perfectly with the Russia-Ukraine war at 2/24, the day it started. So then the other thing is, this is how, you know, I know you know about those. I don't know if you know about the latest deal with the Russian Moskva being sunk on a date with 144 numerology, or, you know, the 14
on the day in history that the Titanic sunk.
Well, but here's the deal. It was sunk by 2 Neptune missiles that had initially been test fired on 3/22 of 2016. The day that they sunk the ship was the 2216th day since their test firing.
How many days since?
I mean, the 322. And then here's the other thing. It was 20 years and 216 days from 9/11.
Okay.
So there's 4 big 2216 rituals or symbology, whatever you want to call them. But the big one is they really showcased who Morning Star is as Barack Obama, because his full name, Barack Hussein Obama II, matches perfectly with the Morning Star 181 English ordinal. And Jesus the Messiah equals 181 in that same cipher. But like,
well, why
said,
would they do it
when you
with
go back and look at
22:16? I don't understand how that really connects, because doesn't it say, I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches? I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. I guess, because you're making it, making the context and the point that he's Lucifer or Satan, right? But that's not what that verse is about.
He's saying that I am the bright and morning star. That's what he's saying. He's saying I am Morning Star.
Okay. That's what Jesus says, right? But I know that from your other post, you're trying to equate that Obama is, you know, Satan essentially, right?
Well, so what I'm saying is, when he's called the Morning Star, he was originally called the Morning Star in Isaiah 14. That's what he was called. That was the terminology. And then when you go into Pipes, Morals, and Dogma, they disclose Morning Star as Jupiter, which was the god of the New Testament. Jupiter, Zeus. You know, I've talked to you a lot about before about how Dionysus, the son of Zeus, that's who the Jesus story ended up being about. I mean, that's the same. So Jupiter is the deity. Jupiter was called the Morning Star. You know, and that's why that Morning Star thing is so important. But you have to, I mean, you realize that so you have 4 big 2216 rituals within about 3 weeks. You know, that's a big deal.
Well, in Seattle, they
You
do.
know, and
In Seattle, Barack Obama might as well be Jesus. For a lot of people, this guy is Jesus. So,
well, Jesus. So here's the thing: Christians have been calling Barack Obama the Antichrist for a long time. Here's the thing: he's actually what they would consider the Christ, but he's still a big problem. You know, that's the whole thing. The Greeks wrote the New Testament. A lot of the Hebrew text spoke terribly about the Greeks, and the children of the Greeks. So I mean, there's a lot of confusion there. But Isaiah 14:12 is specifically talking about Barack Obama. Who it's talking about? And if you think about it, it says he'll deceive the whole world. Well, I'd say he's done a pretty good job at it. But if there's anybody that could be running things from the shadows, I mean, he was in the actual seat for 8 years. I mean, and everybody knows that, you know, Biden's not the one calling shots.
Sure. And
But
neither is
I'm just
Obama.
saying, like, and then think about the fact that he was 22,160 days old on the 95th day of 2022. And we talked about Daniel 2:44, where 2:44 equals 2022 in the Jewish cipher. You know, so I mean, there's a lot. I mean, that's important stuff.
Isn't Venus the morning star though, not Jupiter?
That's the thing. It's always been about confusion. But I mean, what Pike said in the very it's about the middle of Morals and Dogma. He literally one time in the whole book he discloses Jupiter as morning star.
Okay.
And Pike's the guy that wrote the letter to Mazzini. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say he knew what he was talking about, and it wasn't like he was trying to put it all over the place. It was one time in the middle of a book.
Sure.
You know, and not only that, but you and I have talked so much about who was the God. Who did they consider God? The people that wrote the New Testament. Who did they consider God?
Well, probably
Jupiter.
Satan. So.
Yeah. And the Temple of Jupiter, okay, from 300 CE was converted to the St. John's Baptistry. When you say St. John, you're talking about Jupiter. Who wrote the book of Revelation? You know.
Okay.
And if you think back to June 24th of this last year, when the Champlain Towers, when 55 of the apartments came down on June 24th, and then they took the rest of it down on July 4th, the very last moments of the 244th year of the U.S. as a nation. That was all symbolic. You know, I mean, Rambo broke that down about the towers being a representation of the Solomon's temple.
Okay.
And it happened here. And here's the crazy thing: in a 24-hour time frame, another guy with the name John was killed or suicided, whatever. John McAfee. And here's the thing: it was leaked out that he had said that he had a certain amount of information on a flash drive or something or other at that exact location. And somebody had screenshot it, and then he went and scrubbed that out. But the next thing you know, that location where the towers were, 55 apartments or condos come down. You know, but that was on St. John's Day. See, so
Right.
John was super important and all that, but a lot of people don't realize that St. John is directly tied to Jupiter. You know.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of crazy stuff with Jupiter. I mean, like, Rambo had done the decode about Matthew Wolf, like him being the new Tiger Woods. Well, that's where Tiger Woods is from. Matthew Wolf is from Jupiter, Florida. That's where Hank Williams Jr.'s wife died at 58 years old recently. She was it was an unexpected death. She was at a spa in Jupiter, Florida. Her name was Mary Jane Thomas.
Okay.
So, I mean, the Jupiter thing is enormous, and I'm telling you right now, there's no way around it. Barack Obama is Morningstar. He is the embodiment of Morningstar on this earth right now. He's the one at the helm in the physical realm. It's just the way it is. There's no way around it. You know, and then his name does match up with Lucifer as well. His name does. But, you know, Lucifer was a Latinized name. You know that. It said the morning star. And it literally, if you go read the Septuagint version of Isaiah 14, it says that was the reason that the whole earth was purposed. It says for this battle is the reason that the earth was purposed. You know, when you go and read the later stuff like the King James and all, I mean, they changed all kinds of stuff significantly. And then with the quote unquote Old Testament, they changed it to suit their needs. But the Septuagint, what's crazy about the Septuagint is it doesn't line up mathematically as far as, you know, how the King James, it always matches perfectly, like Exodus 3:14 is 314 in certain ciphers. And just, I mean, it was more mathematically done like a computer, whereas you go back to Septuagint and it didn't match up at all. So there was a lot of difference there, you know. And then if people ever go and want to and look at the difference, but you can go read Proverbs 29 and Proverbs 29 is Jeremiah 29. Yes, Jeremiah 29. But a lot of people get tattoos, like Christians will get tattoos of Jeremiah 29:11, and because they think it's such a great thing. The Septuagint says the opposite. It's like a terrible thing. It's like a curse that's being talked about, and how much destruction is to come. So when you read, like I said, you compare King James Jeremiah 29 with the Septuagint Jeremiah 29, and it's night and day difference. Not even in the same ball. I mean, it's 180 degrees difference. So there's been a lot of deception, and you know, when they mass produced that King James Bible and everything else that came after it, you know, was based on that Bible. I mean, it's full of changes and straight out lies. You know, which, you know, I mean, the Catholics have been. Look, you and I both know that we wouldn't be talking about the New Testament if it wasn't for the Catholics. So we wouldn't even know the name Jesus, would we?
I made the same point many times.
Well, then why should we be talking about how Jesus is a good thing just because they said it, just because they put some fancy lines together and act like he is?
Well, you don't hear me saying that. I mean, you know, I mean, it seems that to me most Christians are some of the worst people I ever met. And I mean, look at all the people making videos about me that are totally false and doing it in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
So
Just like you said, Paul. I mean, the guy with the name Paul ran into he was your neighbor that stole from you or something along those lines. But it's like, you know, a lot of times names do. I mean, I know you said something about the letter J the other day, and names that start with the letter J. And a lot of times you have a problem with those people.
sure.
I look back in my life, and I know with a lot of people.
There's a man who came out to Oklahoma who keeps trying to call in. He must have something to say. But where can people check out all the 2216 stuff?
So Derek on his Gematrinator website, but he doesn't really title them to where you can find them. So like he put one about the sinking of the Moskva. So that's in the title, and you can find that about the missiles and the ship. I mean, in the day, correlating up, and then the slapping of Chris Rock. He's got that on there. You know, so he's uncovered that stuff, and he considers himself a Christian. But I asked him after he figured out that Obama is Morningstar. I asked him, like, do you still consider yourself a Christian? You know, because it's like, how can you still consider yourself a Christian when you realize who this guy is? I haven't had respect for that guy in a long time. You know, It's obvious that he's a liar. So anyway, but the last thing I want to say is people need to remain focused on something that's super important. And they are creating famine right now. They are literally shutting down fertilizer transportation, so they can't plant crops this year. They've shut down grain. They're not hauling grain by rail very much at all. But they're not going to haul any fertilizer after a certain point. They're hauling a small amount right now, but they're literally setting the stage for a big time famine. And then you've heard about all of these different factories, these food processing facilities that have been burning up.
Right.
There have been like 30 plus in the last 6 months or so in the U.S.
Yeah.
And there really aren't that many of them. I used to haul freight for Walmart years ago, and there's really not as many of them as people think. So, I mean, they're definitely setting the stage for famine real quick. So.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, man.
Zach, I mean, I wish I knew it wasn't going to be real sweet, but it's the truth.
I know, but here, I just gotta say about it too. You just leave like the weirdest comments, like your video's 244.55, and we all know what that means. It's just like, what's the point of a comment like this? Yeah, that's how long the video is.
But don't take it personally, because I'm not saying that you cognitively or you're cognizant of doing something nefarious. That's not what I'm saying.
But yeah, it's just like it's just an unclear comment that just like is troll bait, is what it is.
No. We're talking about synchronicities, right? not.
But I mean,
wasn't
there's
saying
like,
that you
if
intentionally
you're
made
gonna
the
leave a
video.
comment like that, you gotta like write out, not like your video's 2:44:55. We know what that means. It's like I don't actually know what you mean. I don't know where you're going with it. So
Well, but you do know because we've talked about 244 and 55. I mean, you know, especially with right now being, you know, with everything going on that's going on. I mean, there's nothing to take. If I would have been slandering you, you'd have known it. I wasn't slandering you, so don't take it personal.
But again, it's just like your interpretation of things. I mean, I was like, well, what do you mean, God? And then you said, no, Satan. And I was like, well, why wouldn't you mean God? Because God equals 55, and in the
Well,
verse
do
it
you
mentions
think
God,
is
not
good?
Satan.
Do you think God is good? It's on your dollar bill. Do you think that that's a good thing?
Well,
It's the same thing.
I get the point, but it's just like, I mean, it's just like, what is the point he's trying to make? That the video's satanic, or like what point is this? It's just, you know, like, it's just
No,
like
the
when you
point
put
is
out
just
content and you want like feedback and people to be interested in the community, like comments like that aren't helping. It's like people will look at your comments and be like, oh, what are what's wrong with these people? Like, anyway, man, I appreciate the call, and I'll look more into the 22-16 thing. Thank you. So also, when I pick up the phone, I ask for him to be short because he likes to call and talk for 2 hours at a time while I'm like, dude, I've got things going on, and he'll just talk for 2 hours. So it's like, if you guys wonder why I don't pick up your call so many times, it's because you talk for 2 hours when I say I don't have that much time. But hold on, Lee from Tennessee, who was out in Oklahoma City, called in. What's up, Lee? Lee? Well, he picked up, but I can't hear him. You can call back, Lee. Lee was trying to get in. So yeah, honestly, guys, I'm just like bored of decoding sports. Honestly, to be perfectly honest, I'm just I've called way too many things. The whole world should know about gematria. It takes a long time to decode sports. I'm just like burnt out on doing it. What's up, Lee in Tennessee?
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up,
Hopefully
man?
you can hear me now.
Yeah.
All right. So the only thing I wanted to add, I'll keep it short. I know you want to get off here, but the the building where you were met with resistance, right? The Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum.
Right.
If you top it out just like they have it on, Google Maps, if you put it in Gematrinator, it equals 155 in full reduction.
Okay.
Which, it's connected to Freemasonry and Christianity, just like 55, 11, and 33.
And it goes with the date. That's the date to celebrate Mercury 15/5. And it happened on a Wednesday named after Mercury. And he's arrested in a Mercury. So, okay.
Yeah. And, one symbolizes God, the creator, which is important to Freemasonry.
Uh-huh.
1 equals 47. We know about that. 5 symbolizes the balance and creation. 5 equals 42. Freemason 42. The Fibonacci sequence connection. It's there. So I just wanted to add that. So that's all.
All right. I appreciate it, Lee. Good
problem.
observation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a good night.
Yeah. Take care, man. See you.
Bye.
Yeah, if you look it up, when you look it up on Google, it uses the ampersand instead of writing out and. If you write out and, it's 155. But I gotta tell you guys something else that's funny, and I just saw it today, and you see all the people in this photo. Again, that's not everybody who came through, but it's everybody that was there when we took the photo, and it was that day. It was that day. The young girl who's holding the sign that says "Learn Gematria," I think it was that day. She asked me. She said, "Zach, did you get my super chat?" And I didn't look at my super chats until I got home. Hold on, I'll take one more call and then I gotta go eat something. 347.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
I hear you. What's going on?
Hey, can you pull up this video real quick on Hunter S. Thompson, David Letterman interview? It's 8 minutes and 17 seconds, and you can skip to the 5-minute point.
Okay.
About the Jesuits. That's why I want you to see it.
Hunter Thompson, David Letterman. People haven't seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's about Hunter S. Thompson. Okay, so 8 minutes, 17 seconds, November 25th, 88.
Yeah, skip to the 5-minute point.
5-minute mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let it rock.
And just play it right at the 5-minute mark?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm about to do it. Okay, here we go.
George Bush is the guiltiest man in politics. Therefore, we have our subject crossed. And it's a Jesuit. I said, I like Jesuits because they're smart and mean.
Smart and mean. You like the Jesuits characterized as being smart and mean?
I like to talk. I like to argue with the Jesuits. I see. Excuse me, Jesuits up here?
Yeah, we get a large contingent.
Well, you bring them down. I like that. There's nothing better than talking to a good, mean Jesuit.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So he's talking about how Bush is one of them Jesuits, smart and mean.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little commentary. I caught that because I don't know. I caught a clip of Johnny Depp talking about his some authors he reads during the trial, and he mentioned him, this journalist. He was pretty buddy. And anyway, you already know. Thanks a lot, Zach. Thank you. Hope you make.
By the way, Johnny Depp portrays him in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and Johnny Depp, I think, learned to talk like Hunter S. Thompson. So, all right.
Well, listen. It was funny because he was talking about how when he was young he had a dead eye, so he had to wear eye patch, and he played the Pirates of the Caribbean. So it was just a whole thing. And anyway, I hope you make it out here to New York. Thank you so much for everything.
All right, welcome. Appreciate it. We'll be there. All right.
Peace.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, but anyway, I got to bookmark this clip and watch this later. Absolutely. So hold on. We got to save this to the watch later. We will be back. But I got to tell you guys something that's real. It just hold on. By the way, if you're out there, the young woman with the beautiful mother, but two beautiful ladies, she asked me that day if I'd gotten her super chat, and I did, or not super chat, but her Cash App. So I finally just opened up my Cash App this morning to see if people donated, and I opened it up and there was $131 in there. I was like, wow, a lot of people have been donating to my Cash App, $131. And then I open it up and I see that 3 people donated and one person donated 120 of the 131, and it's this young girl. She's only 19 years old. And if you're out there, thank you so much. That's super generous. But then I kind of felt bad. I was like, man, she shouldn't have to be fronting money like that. And I love that she's out there. She was out there with us in Oklahoma City, Dallas, pounding pavement, holding the sign, and really helping get the word out. And I hope in the future she inspires a bunch of other young ladies to become part of the community. And But the thing is, the other part of me is just like, she's a young person. She wasn't even alive when Oklahoma City happened or 9/11. And God, that's a lot of money to give for a young person. And there's hardly any adults in this world that are helping out with the movement, when really it should be us that should be, Anyway, I really do wish that people would stop just, I don't know why there's not more people out there that don't see what time it is and don't want to help contribute in some way. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be financially, but just sharing the work, promoting the work, putting it on your own social media page. And ultimately, yeah, I do wish a bunch of people out there would pledge $1 a month so we could hire Team Gematria Effect News, have a borough in all the major cities. We know who the crew is that would come out and work for it in Oklahoma City and Dallas. And again, if there was more resources, it would make it a lot more possible to do much bigger things. And really, I do want to do a lap around the country and go city to city and help people find out who's in their community and organize a network, because the time is now, and we got to find out who our friends are, who the awake people are in the community, who we can trust. And anyway, the young girl who made the big donation and her mother, her mother knows the time is now. And one of the mother's big things while she's there, she's like, Zach, I really wish we could get this community together and have, a place where we can grow food together, have camaraderie together, feel safe together, know we have a network to be together. And really, I've been saying that this needs to happen for a long time. This was my video in 2015. But honestly, the gentleman who's up in the front here, yeah, right, the Matrix, if you recognize him, he really thinks that we should pool resources, create some kind of like community trust, and buy up a big plot of land in a place like Mexico. There's other places you could do it in the US where land's cheaper. I mean, the place is up for debate, but if people came together and put the resources together, you know, we could get a place that could become essentially Truth Seekerville. And it's not about starting a cult. It's just about bringing a group of people together who recognize we live in a bad time where it's really probably not for that much longer where we can maintain sovereignty over our own bodies, if that's even possible at this day and age, as polluted and, you know, as many chemicals are here and there from the food to the water supply to the air. But, you know, as much sovereignty as possible. But, yeah, I just keep thinking about it because there were a number of people there who know that the time is now. And I agree. And I feel like we've been patient as a community trying to pool resources and make something happen. And it's getting late in the game. If we can't get people to make a financial contribution of $1 a month, which very few people have been willing to do, it just makes me feel bad that, you know, a young girl comes out and gives $120 of her money. But Kayla texted me the name of I know her name. I have her name. I have it in the super chat. I didn't know if she wanted me to put her name out there. I appreciate it, Kayla. But yeah, the reason I wasn't saying her name is just in case she doesn't want it out there. So if she does want it out there, if you're out there and you're listening, you should call in. By the way, I got my study materials right here. That same girl who made the big financial contribution, not only did she do that, she printed out this packet full of Vedic astrology information, which I'm brushing up on. I still got a ways to go. And again, it just made me, I don't know. It makes me really happy and sad at the same time. She wasn't even alive when any of this stuff happened. You know, she's having to grow up in this world like all the people her age, like all of us really. And, you know, just making a huge financial contribution, plus dedicating her time. And, you know, I mean, it's like her mom came up to me and she said, Zach, I'd give you so much money if we could get $1 million together and buy a plot of land. I said, well, rather than give me the money and do that, I said, really what we need to do is create a trust. And anyway, you guys, the point I'm trying to make is the time is now. We do need to pool our resources together somehow and create a better future and path for people who are awake. I mean, for all the sleepers who are still like, you know, who don't want to see anything that's going on in the agendas that are being waged against us. I mean, I've spent the last 9 years, really longer than that. I've been speaking out and doing stuff even before I knew about Gematria, but I spent the last 9 years trying to wake people up to the agendas that were coming and why we need to wake up before some really bad stuff happens. That really bad stuff is well underway, and it can get a lot worse. And, you know, it was really great to see people come together and interact and socialize and create community. It really did feel like being around family here. But, yeah, you know, if all of a sudden out of nowhere there was a huge boom and there was 1 million people who pledged $1 a month, I'm telling you, that's what I would do right away is just get the piece of land and say, listen, here's the land. You know, one of the women in that photo, her name's Angel, you know, bless her heart. She said she would love to be a part of a community like that, but she doesn't have any resources. All she has is debt right now. So she doesn't know how she could become part of the trust. But honestly, if we put our resources together, the people who are awake, we could pay for our own way and a few other people's way along the way as well. Again, if we could bring $1 million together as a community, that goes real far in a place like Mexico. And the thing is, you have to realize that if Mexico did end up being the place people agreed to, and I'm on the fence about Mexico, I can't decide if it's better to stay in a less expensive place in the U.S. where you can pretty much grow year round or to go to a place like Mexico. But the thing about Mexico is you don't have property taxes. So that's once the plot of land is purchased, it's purchased, and you don't really have your huge property tax expense like you have in the U.S. But yeah, I mean, we do have resources. If a young 19-year-old girl can figure out a way to pull $120 out towards the cause, which I wish, you know, she didn't have to do. I got to be honest. I almost refunded it, but I was like, if I refund it, that's probably going to hurt her feelings. She wanted to donate the money, and if I had refunded it, it wouldn't have been meant to be an insult. It's just, I feel like, she already came out there and pounded pavement. Her and her mom made the commitment to go to Oklahoma City. Then they came out for Dallas the next day. And then not only that, I mean, her mom bought me these, we'll go over this too. This has the JFK autopsy photos, just stuff I've never seen before. But yeah, just two really generous women, and both concerned about the future and where we're going and wanting to make community. And for all the men out there, I mean, how should we be judged as men? Honestly, I think every man at this day and age should be standing up for every last child and every last woman, and women should be standing up too. But I mean, men, historically, that they're the ones that are made to keep, the women and children safe. And there's a serious agenda that threatens everybody, every last child, woman, and man. And where is the manpower right now? Where are all the men that don't have a dollar for the cause I've been preaching on for the last, 4 years, ever since I started raising funds? And again, you guys, I mean, I never got into this to get rich or be a millionaire. I got into this to wake up the world and take a stand against tyranny and change the world for the better. And, I've demonstrated for the entire time how hard I'm working for this cause. And it's just amazing how many people are on the fence, or just like, there's no reason to be on the fence. The only reason you're on the fence is because you're not thinking clearly. You're not paying attention to what I'm saying. You're not taking the time to look into the things that we're pointing out. You're not doing what I ask you to do. I'm saying, listen to the knowledge that I'm sharing here today. Now, tomorrow, when you look at the news, just take this simple code and look at it yourself. You're going to see the exact same thing. There's a serious agenda. It's nonstop propaganda. It's leading us to a really bad place where we don't have rights and liberties. We live in a surveillance state. We're almost here, you guys. And I don't think anyone wants to live in that world. And for all the people who are asleep right now, there's probably going to be a lot of people that wake up when it's too late. They're going to be like, wait a minute. That's what these people were warning about. I guess I should have listened. But anyway, really, you guys, save your money. Figure out ways to save your money. And, seriously think about the things that I'm saying about the agendas that are coming, how we can create community, pool resources. There is safety in numbers. The story about Denise, her getting arrested, my guess is if she had another person with her, they wouldn't have been able to do that to her. And, what's funny is Brian at High Impact Flicks, he made a video of what happened to me at the memorial, and he said in there, he's like, you guys, for all the people out there, this is why you should do these things, not alone, but with other people. And it's like, are you seriously going to say that in your video when I asked you 1,000 times to help promote the event and be there? I even joked, I said, I can use your big muscles on the scene. But if you guys saw it, Brian had to skip town and he went to Las Vegas the day of. I was supposed to create an excuse for why he couldn't be there. But notice the guy doesn't do things like that. He doesn't do live streams on the street and go to Las Vegas, but he had to do it the day of April 19th. You don't think he's on the payroll? Anyway, thank you to everybody, again, who showed up. Thank you to everybody who came out. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. It does. I mean, I still have a great support network, but there should really be a lot more people in it. The work I do is for the betterment of humanity. Again, I know a lot of people don't want to support because I don't have the same religious beliefs as them. Again, realize all of you are part of the problem. You stay in your religious cult. You're going to be facing the same world where the rest of us are going to be facing, and you can keep waiting for your invisible savior, but he's allowing a lot of evil to take place in the world, this invisible savior of yours. And I guess it's all part of the prophecy of your book, right? Anyway, it's sad that so many people are taken by the authorities. So many people are waiting for their false heroes, whether it's the invisible savior or the orange man to come back with the comb over. But for all of us who realize that, the savior is the person within inside yourself, the person who decides to stand up to the evil, speak against the wrongdoing, try to do right for the next person to him. For all those people, that's what I'm calling out to. We got to figure out a way, you guys, to pool resources, create community, and truly create a better path. If there's a safe haven that you can go to where there's a community that's welcoming, that's growing local food, that's about nutrition, health, community, active, healthy social life, That's the vision I have. Not any kind of crazy or weird cult where everybody has to be super into gematria. I mean, that's not what it's about. Gematria for me, like I hate when people come to and say, "Oh, that's the guy that just everything's gematria." The only reason I ever started talking about gematria is because I realized that this is how the evil tyrants operate every day. And I do realize that a lot of people, they don't have enough IQ points up here to see that this is what they're doing, even though it's being explained to them. But yeah, again, I'm calling on all the men who aren't doing anything, who sit by like spectators. Again, now is your time to shine and do your part to stop what's taking place in this world. And out of all the people who came out to Oklahoma City, a lot of people came out and made a great contribution, but it was a young girl who made maybe the biggest contribution, and she wasn't even alive when any of this stuff happened. She shouldn't even have to live in this world. The reason she lives in this world because of all the men that didn't stand up when they should have on 9/11. I think I was the only man in Arizona State who was standing up for the truth, and all I got for it was grief and flack. And had nobody fallen for 9/11, guess what? There never would have been any war because none of the soldiers would have volunteered. There never would have been anyone consenting to giving up their rights. There never would have been anyone okay with any politician passing the Patriot Act. And yeah, I mean, this is what needs to change. People need to see the agendas, how evil the federal government is. The examples they mount by the day, but if we can't wake up the world and we can't make the change that we want to see, then the next plan of action has to be how to create a better future for ourselves. And I just want to say, let's not leave it up to the teenage girls to fund the cause. Not as no disrespect to the teenage girls, I mean, very much they should be fighting for their future too. But I'm just calling on the adult men who don't contribute anything. And I know there's a lot of them in this community. And honestly, guys, the reason I'm also just sick of sports is just because, I mean, it's just like people make a bunch of money off March Madness, and then they're going to come back when football season. They're going to unsubscribe now, and then they'll come back for $5 a month when football season's back because that's when they want to gamble again. And it just kind of makes me sick. I mean, they don't tip anything. They make thousands of dollars on the tournament. I charge $5 a month. If they're signed up all year, that's $60 contribution a year. Hardly even a tip when you made thousands. And then to just sign up for the few months of the football season and come back for March Madness, it's just like, I don't even know if I want to help these people out anymore. You're willing to contribute $20 a year to make your few thousand. It's just like, that's part. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, the only reason that it's become about finance in recent years is because we do need resources to accomplish big things. Not enough resources have come in. It's possible that I'm being cheated by some of these platforms, but we really do need a big push by the community. We need a big surge. And honestly, I mean, there should be 1 million people out there that were touched by what we just did in Oklahoma City that can chip in $1 for all of their life. And then we got $1 million right there. Plot of land, community, a place for people to start going to. Angel, who's in the photo, who has young children, who's sick of this world because now their children have to go to school and learn about being transgender and not about, math, reading, writing, critical thinking. She came up to me with tears in her eyes. She's like, Zach, we got to create a community like this where we can be together, stay together, educate each other, make a better way. And yeah, it's only going to happen if people get more disciplined and care more and are more willing to contribute. And again, I get frustrated that people can't pledge $1 a month because that's 3 cents a day. And how can you not come up with 3 pennies a day? I don't get it. You can sit here and watch videos all month. And you can't just say, I got 3 pennies a day for the cause. And if you got more than 3 pennies a day, that's also cool. But anyway, I am a little bit frustrated that this month with the big effort and part of the reason resources went down. And because I mean, literally there's a lot less supporters this month than there was in the last year. And it's like, how can that happen in this month when we're really making the push to do big things? So anyway, for all of you guys who just sit on the sidelines and aren't ever going to pledge $1 and are just going to watch more videos and, just continue to decode every last thing. I mean, there has to come a point when you got to decide, like, how am I going to contribute? How am I going to do my part? So I'm talking in circles at this point, but really, I'm trying to emphasize people need to act. They need to do something. And again, donating $1 is not the only thing. If you can't donate $1, you can still get out there, speak out more, share more information, and try to connect with more people in the community. And as another one more reminder, again, freetofindtruth.com, you guys. The reason I pay for this website every month is for people to organize, network, get on here, have a place that they can share information, have no fear of it being censored. Nothing's getting censored on this website except for trolls. People come on there, they're obvious trolls. They get deleted. That's it. But yeah, again, we got to network and organize in our communities. And I realize if I do go town to town, it will help people organize a network, but it is expensive to get out on the road. You know, it was expensive to drive, hotel, food. I helped out a number of people financially who had problems or needed some help with the trip. You know, Denise, who just had her thing come up, I'd like to help her out because I know she has a financial burden from her harassment. But this is the reason we need resources too. It takes resources to do things. If I had a lot more resources than I have now, it would be like, imagine we had $1 million coming in a month. We could not only buy a Truth Seekerville in, Mexico, we could get one in the States for people who want to stay in the States. And really $1 million a month there should be 1 million people out there who could pledge $1 a month to this. And again, like I said, if 1 million people came together and pledged $1, obviously you couldn't get 1 million people on, a plot of land that you can buy for $1 million. But if there's $1 million coming in each month and everybody's only pledging $1, and is there not 1 million people in the world who care about the purpose of what this community works about? And again, I mean, I know I got a lot of haters, but again, all I've ever done is demonstrate day after day how evil tyrants control our government and other governments of the world and are not working for our interest and how they need to be stopped. And they have a lot of resources, right? I mean, they control the thing that just prints money. But we need resources and we need to be organized. And there should be 1 million people that are on board with the message and the work and all that's been put out there. And again, I'll remind people, almost everything I've ever done, I've made free too, including my books. You can get both of my ebooks for free. And all you ever had to pledge to get them, even at the times when they weren't free, was $1. And they're a lot of work. But I know that what I've been doing over here in the community that's been helping out, we are putting out the knowledge and information that can change the world, that can expose the agendas if enough people pay attention and stop the evil that's seeping into all of our lives in more ways than one. And yeah, I just thought, like, I don't know, man. It's just it's just something else. So shout out to again everybody who came out, all the great people, and yeah, well, we will do it again. New York, September 11th, 2022. But really, by the time New York and 9/11 comes together, I hope there's a lot more people who've put a little skin in the game, whether that's $1 or just getting out there and sharing more, and stop saying things like, "Well, I tried to share it and no one cared." Again, you don't know that no one cared. If you're sharing the work, you might not get the like. You might not get the share, but you might have also showed something to somebody where it did plant a seed in their mind that they otherwise wouldn't have seen. So anyway, Free to Find Truth. It's the website that's here. It's free to use, and you can be as anonymous on there as you want. And again, if you see a troll on there, just try to ignore them. Usually we spot the trolls and get rid of them. But yeah, so I think that's all I got for now, Truth Seeker. We are in precarious times, and don't live in fear, but be aware and recognize. I mean, there are serious agendas that are being plotted, and if we don't take a stand, I mean, we are going to become the victim of those agendas more and more. So again, go back and look at what the World Health Organization is working on. Started at the same time the whole Russia-Ukraine thing popped off. Nobody's really talking about that. Nobody's talking about the summit they just had a few weeks ago in Dubai, where they couldn't stop saying New World Order and talking about, the new digital currency that's coming for the U.S. that's not too far off. That's going to create all sorts of problems for the people and in all sorts of ways for government to abuse the people. And again, I mean, none of us want to live in this world where we're just, wide open for government and big tyranny abuse. And I mean, we already know what's happening, but it's going to happen a lot more. We're getting into a really ugly phase of human history. And again, what I really want to do is create an uprising and beat it. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. I mean, you see that most people still aren't that awake. But at the same time, just to make the point super clear, even if it's only 100 people who are willing to, like Oklahoma City, there was really only about 100 people who were willing to come out for the event, despite it being promoted for 3 months and being in the heart of the country. There was really only about 100 people who were coming out. Well, in the end, that might be how it is. You end up in a community with 100 good people. And, for all the other ones that weren't willing to take the risk of skipping a day of their slave job or whatever it is, I mean, I guess those are the consequences, right? They weren't willing enough to take a stand against tyranny. And so anyway, those of us who are here, who are committed, we really got to start organizing and networking and figuring out a better path forward. Because again, there is something as too patient, and the day of too patient might not be too far away. So in the time, I'm going to be doing some more research. And I hopefully in the not too distant future, I figure out a way that we can actually put a trust together and create a plan and say like, hey, the first 100 people to pledge 10,000, we have $1 million as a community. It's a community pool of money. We make the agreements and decisions together. It's not like one person has sway over everybody else's money, but we figure out a way to put our resources together and create, the best path. And there's things we're gonna have to talk about because I'm uncertain about, like, is it better to start a community in the States where you can grow year round, or is it better to go to Mexico where there's not property taxes and your money goes further? It's but yeah, we got to figure out something. And like, yeah, right. The Matrix said, if you wanted to go to Mexico, if that's where the community was, you don't even need a passport. Mexico will let you walk into the country. You can't fly without a passport, but you can go into Mexico without a passport. You might have some trouble coming back to the U.S. without a passport, but maybe you're not coming back. Maybe it's a one-way ticket to a new life and a new way of being. And now instead of your slave job and being bombarded with propaganda day after day, now you have a place where you got food, you got shelter, and you don't really have to. Money's not really a thing you have to worry about anymore. The only thing you have to worry about is maintaining your shelter and your food supplies. So, to me, that would just be a dream. To have a great community of people. Have great conversations, play games. Have fun, grow food, and live happily ever after, or so it seems. So, shout out to Tony. Tony heard the call. He just did a cash app for $1. But yeah, so anyway, you guys, we got a lot to do. We got a lot to accomplish. And take a look around. There's not a lot of people that are willing to help out with what needs to be done. A lot of you guys, these other YouTube channels you follow, have you seen them promote anything to make the world a better place, or do you see them sharing information each day and promoting products? So realize there's not a lot of people who actually care about much more than their own selves and their own well-being and their own financial means. And if you can't see that I'm not one of those people, you're blind, honestly. You go back to the first 5 years I was here. I never raised a single penny. I worked every single day, but I lost a lot for doing that. But again, you guys, all I want is again, to end the evil. And if we can't end the evil, to create a community, a safe place, a good space for the people who want to be a part of that, who deserve to be a part of that. And I think about all the great people who came out for the event. And again, all the women too, especially. I heard it most from the women about, they really want a community, and that makes sense. Women are often more community oriented. So, let's do it. Let's achieve it. Let's figure out a way to achieve it. I'm going to start looking into a trust. I'm going to be doing more research on the right spot. And again, if you can't afford $1 a month towards my cause, again, I save up pretty much all the resources that come in, minus the minimal expenses I have in my life, which aren't much since my house is paid off and stuff. But we got to make something happen, you guys. So I'm gonna leave it there. Again, thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll do a more appropriate Sunday night show next week, and I'm gonna also try to get the book done real soon. The book will definitely be ready when we have our September 11th event, and I do look forward to giving out copies of that book in New York. And again, if you guys came out to Oklahoma City when I'm done with the book, swing me an email when it's ready and say, "Hey Zach, I came out to OKC. Can you send me a signed copy?" Absolutely. Everyone who came out to OKC, you got a free signed copy from me, 100%. Thank you, LAF. I see your dollar. But yeah. And that's the other thing. Just after being there with all the community, you just want that. It's like, man, I want to be back in that community setting. It's real nice to be around all those people and the positive energy. And again, just next time, if you are coming out to New York, maybe think not about flying, maybe think about driving, or if you are flying, maybe travel with someone. So in case they really are messing with people, abusing their government surveillance, like what happened to Denise. I mean, make sure that doesn't happen again either. So, Iron, thank you. I appreciate your super chat, and LAF. Thank you very much. So, again, $5. I mean, that's like 5 months worth of contribution. So, I see LAF gave another dollar too. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's all for now. I got to eat some food, and until next time, Truth Seeker, have a good night. Or if you're in that other part of the world, have a good day. Until next time.